Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha's here. Butler's here. You know, one of my least favorite things to talk about, but probably your favorite, is when you are correct. And I feel the need to point out that you got something absolutely right, and it has to do with these very popular game shows where people have to do some sort of physical challenge. It all kind of started with Ninja Warrior, but then it dovetailed off to people that are less, let's say, physically fit. You had to have something for fat people to do. So then you had these other shows that are a little less sophisticated, like Wipeout. And then that brings me to my favorite of these shows right now. My daughter loves it, called Holy Moly, where you just get normal people that play Stephen Curry's like kind of warped version of Wipeout meets mini golf, right? So it's like mini golf meets a strange physical challenge. Well, your biggest complaint of these type of shows has always been
they don't fall in doo-doo water.
See, I knew he would get it right. And this year, they added a hole called hole number 2. And the whole bottom of it, they don't even mince words. It's just straight brown water with pipes filling it in that says sewer.
Okay.
With like 10 porta-potties with people dressed in costume inside of them. And you have to putt, and then as you run past the porta-potties, their job is to open the door to the porta-potty, launching you into the poo water.
I like that.
My daughter thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. In fact, we've only seen it on one episode. I've watched the poo water part 17 times. It's awesome.
Okay.
It's awesome. You got it right. You were always right. Seasons 1 and 2 of Holy Moly. Don't even watch them. Just jump straight to the poo water. Collect $200. Do not pass it. Like, it is, you were right. And I apologize for questioning you and your knowledge of events and or poo gaming.
Do the people have any chance of getting past the physical?
Absolutely
okay.
not. These challenges are, these Holy Moly challenges are, and my wife hates it. Because Andrea believes that everybody in the world has a fair shake, and I've been trying to convince her for years now that no, life is not fair. Sometimes it's all poo water all the time, and that's all you're getting.
Because I did like watching Wipeout at one point where they'd get up to the big red balls, you know, like, and they'd have to jump across.
Somebody died on those red balls.
And did they die?
They did.
Then did they die of a heart attack or of a broken neck or something like that?
I believe it was a heart attack.
Okay.
So it was pre-existing condition. I know. I don't really either.
They died of overexertion.
It's also funny to say somebody died on those balls.
But I liked when like the person would get up to the ball challenge and it would be like a...
There was a funny name for it. I forget what they were called.
It'd be like a 42-year-old...
computer programmer.
Bigger woman that hasn't, she's not especially athletic.
She's a
or whatever.
School bus driver from Martinsville, Virginia. Let's give it up for Sally Franklin.
And she's got 2 knee braces, and she gets up there, and she
says she's doing this for her nephew, Petey.
And she gets up there, she stops at the edge, and then she acts like
stutter.
She's gonna go for it, like I'm gonna make it, like confident, and I'm like, you have no chance of getting past the first ball, 100%.
Right.
I would bet
you're not built for it.
I would bet my life you couldn't get to the third ball. Literally my life, my whole family's life. It's an impossibility.
It's a safe bet.
You cannot jump from that ledge down. You have 2 knee braces.
But I like her confidence. I also like that she's bouncing like an MMA fighter to ready herself.
And she jumps on the first ball and bends her back backwards.
Oh yeah, it blows her kneecap. Her ACLs explode.
And she rockets herself from the first ball in between the second ball.
And they always do like a one step before. You got to get a running start.
It's a hesitation.
Yeah.
And you know what I've been noticing
Zero
lately?
Chance of making it.
What I've been noticing lately on Holy Moly is that not like Andrea mentioned that this is like the 5th or 6th episode we're in. And Andrea turns to me and she goes, these obstacles that they have to go past, they're impossible. Like you can't. One of them is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's a ginormous ear of corn that they let car airbags go off of, like it's the corn popping.
Oh, man.
And it blows the people into the water. It's not poo water. It would be better if it were poo water, but it explodes. And there's no way around it. Like, as you're running, you're
so
just
it's like the sucker punch and Wipeout.
Yeah, you're just going to get exploded no matter what. You just have to accept the fact that you're going to get a one-stroke penalty. You're just like, it's actually better if you just accept it, right?
Yeah.
Get it over with.
Yeah, just get it over with, because it's the people that try to, like, hem and haw. They're the ones that, like, seemingly get hurt. But you were right, buddy. The poo water really, especially for a child, there's, like, my daughter finds nothing funnier. The one lady that's up there on the first episode is like, you know, like an influencer with like a lot of work done, a lot of filler, big, you know, like fake lips. She got big old implants, and they obviously they have them cut for the dads that are watching. She's wearing all white. They make 1,000 comments about her wearing all white. And when she goes in, I mean, it's just a mess. And my daughter's just snort laughing. I mean, she's crying. There's nothing funnier than that. I could write the greatest joke, do the best song, performed, and nothing is funnier than that lady falling in doo-doo water. Nothing.
Yeah. So these are the type of shows that are cheap enough to make, and you can get an endless supply of participants.
Yeah, if people just want to be on TV.
Yeah,
especially if we stay
because the prize
on this,
isn't huge, right?
I think it's $100,000 or something, and a gold putter and a green jacket, you know, a plaid jacket or something. You know, it's not like
which is, let's talk about prize money on. Like,
it's all over the place. It used to be
contestant shows, because like if you get $100,000 for going on
Drag
Holy moly,
Race,
but then you get $100,000 for going on Drag Race, and I'm like, you know how much work that is?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, there are some that is no work. Like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You just stand there and get it right or wrong. You know,
yeah,
like,
they get $1 million, right?
It seemed like it was on its trajectory to go higher and higher when these game shows, and it was like Weakest Link, I think, was the first one I remember. And then we did.
It's only $25,000.
Oh, $25,000. Yeah, Holy Moly is like one of the low ones, but it seems like it'd be one of the ones you'd really want to be on. It'd be fun.
Because they don't have to set the prize money to get a bunch of contestants.
Yeah, they're all influencers. These are all, like, this is the track we're on. Everybody wants to be famous, so of course there's going to be a line of people until the end of time.
Honestly, you don't even they do it for free. It's just the prize money's for the audience watching at home. Because if you had the prize money of $1,000, the audience watching at home would be like, why is it so small? You have to at least have it up there.
Put a crown on it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they had some sort of contract where the actual prize money that they are portraying on the show is somehow like skewed, where once you win, there's something in the contract where it's not actually. I mean, I know there's taxes and other stuff, but it's not even close to what they say it is, because they don't need it. Like, you don't need that. People will be on TV for nothing. All the influencers would be on there just to get themselves on there. Like, they'll do it for free.
And we looked up all the people, and like most of them aren't like. It's like it always has that. It always runs a little bit of entertainment, you know. Like, it's like one of the guys, the contestants, was a youth pastor, but it's like he's a fairly famous youth pastor, and then the influencer lady had her own like lipstick line. It's like everybody's they're not destitute, you know. Like, I'd like to see like this guy absolutely has no home, and he's on Holy Moly.
I wonder, okay, so the people that, like, the influencers or someone, like, they get on there, because back, like, when Shark Tank, and we talked a lot about that, there was, like, a real thing where if you just made it on Shark Tank, it was like a $4 million equivalent worth of advertising for your company or product.
It was the equivalent of being a stand-up comedian in the 60s and being on Carson.
Yeah, it would
just explode.
Because of the audience and it being nationwide, like, no matter what, even if you didn't get a deal and they laughed you out of the thing, like, it would give you so much publicity towards your business that you would garner a level of success just from that. Right?
This is just so fleeting.
I can't imagine, like, what it would, if you're on the Holy Moly, right, as an influencer.
Everything,
and even if you said
entertainment
your name,
is so throwaway now.
Is it going to do anything? You get some followers, right? Something?
No.
Do they put, like, their social media on the bottom?
No. They keep it like, you would be like, you'd be like Sam S. Or Sam H, you know, like they'd make
right.
It,
they won't say like the full name.
They'd pigeonhole you in a way where you'd be like, she's a 32-year-old podcaster from Orlando, Florida. She's and then your name would be like Sammy Producer. You know, they make it like kind of like Ninja Warrior used to do. The original Ninja Warrior, you would come out dressed as like the profession that was your day job. So if you were a fisherman, or if you were like
I like that better.
Yeah, if
a
you
doctor,
were like a scientist.
scrubs,
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of doing that now.
Yeah,
with like Holy Moly, where you get the guys that come out. Like one of the guys that was on there was like a pro golfer. He didn't win. The guy that won was like because it's mini golf. Anything can happen.
It's obstacles.
Stupid. It is stupid. It's very stupid.
Although it is valuable to your own audience to tell them like, oh, Sam's going to be on Holy Moly and we'd all watch and have, you know what I'm saying? So there's value no matter what.
But you got to have an audience already.
I guess so. Yeah. I guess.
Like if you have a lipstick company, what are your friends from high school following your Instagram page? You know what I mean? Like you got to have some kind of following for it to make any kind of difference.
Your own social following matters because you can tell them and they watch.
That's what I was seeing.
So even if it's just a couple thousand,
like, hey, watch Holy Moly, my friend's on tonight.
That's what I saw. It was the youth pastor, and they were like, "We're having a watch party at the church. Come on down to the fellowship hall.
Oh man,
hot luck." Like that's cool.
You turn it into some perceived value no matter what because you're like on TV on this game show.
Yeah.
All your friends and family, you're telling like, look, on the show. Like that's a big deal for anybody. I feel.
I want to get on the circle.
Okay. I mean, we can try and get you on something.
There are people that just professionally apply.
Talk to Kenny.
Kenny.
That's true. I need to talk to Kenny.
He would help you out. And you're unique.
You got to give me like a couple months off, guys.
You got a unique look, too, because you're a tall lady and you stick out a little bit, and they like that.
Yeah.
One of the reasons sounds kind of crappy, and Tom, feel free, but one of the reasons why Tiffany and I went in that the audition process for
Amazing Race, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we went really far, but it was
because SPK and Matt, like they were going like for real. They were really trying to win.
I think they were. Yeah,
they went like every year.
Well, yeah. Well, they liked me because I was little.
Yeah,
and they said that.
Yeah, it's some sort of thing.
Yeah, they liked them. They liked the mismatch of the woman being bigger in the thing in the in the couple
dynamic.
Yeah, in the dynamic, which is weird, but yeah, they like stuff like that.
Is this show still going on?
Amazing Race? I don't know.
I haven't heard.
I feel like some things like Survivor are still happening.
You know what's back? You know what's back
Survivor
on?
is still on.
What's back on TV? It's reruns, but it's just got released to Netflix, and I can't watch it.
The Mole?
It is The Mole, and I
love The Mole.
I want to watch it, but I just want to watch new episodes because I remember seeing. I don't want to go back and watch old reality TV. Like
Amazing Race is still on, 32 seasons.
Wow, man,
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was always out of all the reality shows.
I never watched it.
It was one of the ones that I enjoyed because I did enjoy the competition aspect of it, and it wasn't like you bitch. They're splashing wine in their face and like stabbing each other.
I feel like I would like it. I just never.
It's good, but
they had to have been shut down during Corona, right? Like you're not doing.
They had it. Season 32 came out in 2020. But it must have been pre-recorded.
It was like right
2019 must have been. So maybe they started up again, but it's still hard to travel. It's all travel internationally.
But there were some reality shows that were filming during the pandemic. They just had them all wear masks and shields.
And probably in one location too. Like it's hard to go from.
They'd go to like each other's houses.
Yeah.
Country to country, race to each other's houses.
Terrible.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
Let's do some voicemails.
All right. If you would like to leave us a voicemail message, not leave us a voicemail message, you can do so by getting our app. It's totally free. Just download it wherever you get your smartphone apps, and you can leave a message. Much like this one right here. This is from Jesse.
Hey, Tom and Dan, Sam, what's up, guys? This is Rainbow Crocsman Gay Jesse here. You said your emails sound crazy, like all your listeners are on acid. That's because we are, sir. I took a shocking amount today and went to the beach. It was amazing. Excuse my dry mouth or whatever. I love you guys.
Oh, we love you too. Careful with the acid.
Yeah, be careful.
I mean, is that something people do? Just take acid and go to the beach randomly on the weekend?
On a Tuesday.
No, it was during the week, yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday acid day. Never done acid. Never done it.
Me neither. Although people tell me good things.
You want to do Acid Fridays?
It seems like
do Acid Fridays. Right now, I'm just easing into TD Fridays.
Yeah.
My acid days, I think, are numbered. I don't know.
Well, what when you get into the waterfall lifestyle?
Maybe.
I
think
that's
that's more ecstasy, right?
Yeah, ecstasy's more the way you want to go. You want to melt. You don't want to necessarily swirl.
Well, yeah.
Acid's more of a swirl. I feel like ecstasy's more of a melt.
And it's like, the touching thing with the ecstasy. The acid is more of if things go the wrong way, you're freaking out, bro, right?
I've never done it. I couldn't tell you.
That's all I've ever heard is like, you got to be in the right mindset. And
you're definitely not, Tom.
I'm never in the right
You don't need to take it.
I'm never in the right mindset. For what? I'm never in the right mindset for anything.
Yeah.
Name one thing I'm in the right mindset for.
The one time I did mushrooms, I sat and contemplated a long time about
life.
Yeah. It's like too much in my own head.
I do that a lot. I mean, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night on an edible, and I'll sit on the toilet like the thinker, and I don't fall asleep, but I will wake up and look at my watch. I'm like, I've been sitting here for 3 hours.
Yeah, your brain starts running, and then it's hard to slow down at that point. Like if you realize, I do that with the edibles too. Like if I take too much or whatever, it just starts my brain going down, like really thinking about a million things, ADD or whatever, and you can't chill.
When I know I got it perfect is when I turn on the faucet and I get that stream. I get it from going from a drip to a stream, a steady stream. And when the sides of the water completely smooth out and make a complete line, I just stare at that for like an hour.
It's a waste of water.
We got more.
Tom and Dan and Sam and Trav. Hey guys, it's Kenny. Listening to Dan's idea about interactive pool tables, I think he'd be able to make it work, but
Thank you, Kenny. Interactive pool tables will be a thing. Tom is a naysayer.
Wouldn't necessarily be real time. Imagine this and follow with me. So each pool table has an overhead camera, so you both would set up your balls the same. You would see the video of what the other person did, and then when the balls stopped on their pool table, then your pool table would move around the balls into the specific positions, whether it's via magnets or, electro stuff underneath the felt. So it wouldn't necessarily be real time, like moving when the person hits it, but it would move once the ball stopped moving. So you can basically continue play based on what the other person did. So you guys would be watching each other shoot and then continuing, but it just wouldn't be necessarily in real time. I think that's a bit more feasible than the BB-8 option. Anyway, guys, stew on that. Love you. Bye.
Damn it, Kenny. I think you got it.
The whole problem is the act of playing pool with someone in a different state or country or location doesn't seem worth it for all the trouble it takes to do that, right? It's like, I can understand chess and stuff. That's easy to just move the piece, but for all this setup just to be able to play pool with someone in Canada,
yeah,
it seems like, well, just go to Trick Shots and play anybody. It's the same enjoyment level.
I want to play Canadians.
I don't want to leave my house.
Are there any Canadians at Trick Shots?
Yeah, or just have someone up just play pool with you at your house. Well, seems way easier than
just invite random Canadian people to my house.
What's the benefit of playing someone in the other side of the world or whatever? It seems.
I mean, maybe just to accomplish
minimal.
it. What if it's just to say that you accomplished digital pool?
Yeah, I guess if you just wanted to do the one-off, I'm just saying the grand scheme of things, like playing.
I mean, but I could talk myself out of everything. I think you're trying to talk yourself out of everything.
Maybe you're agoraphobic and you can't leave your house.
Yeah, that just seems like a.
What if you're really ugly?
A small.
What if you're really ugly?
Sample set. Yeah, there's lots of really ugly people that
I know.
play pool.
This could really benefit ugly billiards players. They wouldn't have to go out. Long gone are the days of wearing the cloak. Cloaks are in right now.
Cloak?
After
cloaks, yeah, wearing cloaks are very in right now, especially for ugly people.
After this Shark Week, I kind of want to bring trench coats back.
No, you can never bring. No, that
fashionable.
There was a thread on the BDM page where somebody asked, like, "Can you tell women that they're attractive anymore?" And then most ladies said, "Creepers have ruined that." I agree.
Yeah.
You can no longer wear a black trench coat to be a goth kid because you look like a murderer. It's just a fact. I'm sorry.
I saw that post, and I get where that guy was coming from, where he's like, it goes back to there's nothing wrong with that. It's all your intention.
Right.
If your intention is to just tell someone they're beautiful.
I accidentally do it to Sam all the time. Like, she'll come in and be like, "Oh man, your hair looks really nice today."
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do anything other than compliment a friend.
That's different than what
walking up to a stranger and just saying, "I just want to let you know that you're beautiful."
I've never done that. Although I did see a fat guy at Wawa with a Mountain Dew shirt on, and I go, "I like your shirt, cowboy."
Don't call him cowboy.
I did. I felt spicy.
I thought about with that.
And he was happy
with what that guy was saying. Is like, why can't you do that if I'm just trying to give someone a compliment, nothing else, and not trying to hit on them, blah blah blah. And it only works. I thought about this a lot. Like, it doesn't work if the girl is actually like, and this is all subjective, but societally attractive.
Yes.
Because they get that all the time from creepers and from other people. It only works if you tell it to an ugly person.
Wow.
And follow me here.
Hold on.
Because they will appreciate it. And then...
I'm writing this down for hot take.
I really enjoy this hot take. That would slap my cheeks a little. I didn't expect that.
Oh, not an ugly person.
He got us, didn't he?
You got to be a ghoul before it works.
Well, then
it's a compliment.
They'll appreciate it.
Not a compliment. It's a compliment.
They'll appreciate it and not take it as a creepy...
or they'll take it as passive-aggressive and be like, F you, get away from me.
You'd have to say it
That's
genuinely.
That's an advanced ghoul.
But I feel like the people...
You got to walk on ghoul shells when you're telling it. Like, you got to be real careful.
And not even ugly. It's just someone who doesn't get it a lot.
Yeah.
Because that person...
How do you know if they do?
You
know. Yeah, because...
Yeah, you know.
I was about to say Kathy Ireland.
Yeah! Hot Tub's here, everybody. It's Hot Tub from the Hot Tub and Mini Fridge Morning Show. I didn't know you were here, Hot Tub. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm just here checking out my Kathy Ireland cardboard stand-up that I stole from the Bud Light display at Winn-Dixie. Oh, yeah!
What a reference.
Oh,
you are one of my, if not my favorite person. You are such a weirdo.
Even Megan Fox is old now, right?
Yes.
Megan Fox is 2005.
That's a dated reference.
Yeah. Who would be the quintessential hot chick?
Yeah, you might as well.
Wait a minute, she's my age.
Yeah, you might as well have said Sydney
Hold on now, you're older than me, old man.
Listen, I know I said Kathy Ireland. So I'm just saying, who do I reference now that would be right on point?
There's only one of us here that has a vanity plate that says unsolved murder mama. And it's not me and Tom.
Trauma mama. How dare you?
Trauma mama.
Is Billie Eilish a sex symbol?
Yeah, dude.
I don't know.
You saw her most recent photo shoot?
It was good, but she's a pop star too. I don't think sex is her number one export.
It seems like more of
Megan Fox. I just said Megan Thee Stallion. Sorry.
Okay, Megan Thee Stallion.
The other animal.
Yes, if Megan Thee Stallion's walking...
She's my age, I think.
Love Megan.
But if you go and say, I think you're very beautiful, like, it's not going to be worth it. It's going to come off creepy because she's getting
Especially
it from every
creepy.
Like
you're very beautiful.
I'm trying to think of another celebrity. Like an age, I mean, right now, if you said that to Kathy Ireland, right, she'd maybe appreciate it more.
Thank you very much.
Although she may be jaded from the entire. She also still looks awesome, I think, right?
I have to look her up.
I see old like '90s supermodels sometimes. So, like, which is the one that is in her 60s and she looks insane?
Oh, you're talking about Christy Brinkley?
Christy Brinkley, yeah.
Billy Joel's old ex-wife. She is an alien creature.
Like good genetics,
right,
an awesome surgeon.
Kathy Ireland 2020. I'm sure she looks amazing. She's Kathy Ireland.
Yeah.
She still looks pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going here, loading up the old images, and
like,
she looks great.
If you...
Yeah, there she is. Okay, there you go. There's a decent picture of her. Yeah, she looks good.
Here
she is with you, apparently. Why are you taking pictures with just like a drunken you?
Why is he mud all over him? Let's play another voicemail.
Right. How about this one right here?
Hey Sam, Tom, Dan, Butler, it's Chris Streama. I just had a thought when listening to the Friday show. I'm not trying to be too big for my britches or anything, but if you guys really go through with this hot tub and mini fridge, hot tub, then I would like to maybe audition to be like, you have to have a dum-dum. You have to have a dumb blonde, if you will. And Samantha's too cool.
Oh,
she's just way too cool. So I was told I didn't want to be like a dumb blonde at my last job. That's one of the insults my boss would tell me. And I'm a redhead too, so weird. Anyway, Love y'all. Talk soon.
Your old
Bye.
boss used to call you a dumb blonde.
Okay,
no wonder she quit her job.
We would allow you to be our dumb blonde if and only if you show that slasher.
My God.
Yeah. Because that's what the hot tub and mini fridge want.
Yeah, we got to see the slasher.
Yeah. And we are going to objectify
or at least
you.
paint your tees like Shamrock.
Oh, yeah.
Shamrock and the Slashers.
Yeah.
That's a great band.
Yeah. It's going to be all, I mean.
Oh, yeah. We're slashing prices.
Yeah, hell. Borat,
everything must go.
Slingshot,
Yeah.
I mean.
Taser, mouse traps.
Yeah. Although,
shave your head. Eat an apple through a fence.
Yeah.
French maid outfit.
Yeah. Sushi.
Butt plug sushi.
Condom tasting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Beer
Cabbage
bottle under
wrestling.
each breast.
Do they still do cabbage wrestling?
Yeah, that's it.
They did
Cabbage.
Yes,
the
it's
bike
coleslaw.
Oh,
Yeah,
coleslaw.
coleslaw.
Oh, sorry.
I've never heard cabbage
Well,
wrestling.
it's cabbage now because
Kathy Ireland
no,
does
it's
cabbage
vegan.
wrestling.
It's vegan now. They don't.
I thought it was called the Cabbage Patch.
It's called the Cabbage Patch.
But it's coleslaw
It's
wrestling.
Sapotnik's. I believe the actual name is Sapotnik's Cabbage Patch. And it's coleslaw wrestling. And only the finest of ladies.
They did that during peak Corona, right? Like, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're not taking away their coleslaw.
Yeah. That was happening during
Nothing
middle
sexier.
Corona.
You go to nibble on a girl's neck and you look at her ear and there's little pieces of carrots in there.
Ugh.
Didn't it
Little
go
green,
bad?
little green pepper.
Oh, they didn't.
No,
use-
they're constantly pouring vinegar on it to keep it fresh.
okay.
They're
It's
constantly
vinegar.
whipping it. They got a whisk the size. They have the world's largest whisk. It's like the size of a water tower, and they attach it to a backhoe, and they spin it, and they whip that cabbage.
Because it would get hot and wilty.
Yeah, it gets really wilty. Well, you want it a little wilty. You don't want it. You don't want it straight out
Too
of the
crispy,
bag.
yeah.
If it's too crispy, it'll take your eye out.
Oh man, I've been to some biker bars. Samantha,
You don't look like you've been to a biker bar to me.
Yeah. There was a time where I've been to a lot of them. It was like peak radio.
I went through a phase where I had to decide whether or not I wanted to dedicate my life to being a biker boy. And I chose not to. Yeah, I chose against it.
Yeah. They're and I'm
The
not
motorcycle life chose me. I didn't choose it.
and I'm not
I had to
talking
turn
about
my back on it for a child.
I'm not talking about like the like true biker gang bar. And like I'm talking like the
No, you're
you
talking
know,
about poser biker.
or
gangs.
just like the general party. You own a motorcycle. You like to party. You go to. One place, you know.
my face and a cold Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
guys got pub burgers and a touch tunes? All right.
and it's something. I will say that. Oh yeah.
All right, let's try. I gotta double check and see how we're doing on time here. Please forgive me. There we are.
You want to power through?
Let's take a break.
No, I gotta. Okay, all right. We'll take a break.
Yeah. Bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here, and welcome to the show.
Let's do some Weird Job Wednesday.
All righty. Tom wanted to do a bit. He called it Weird Job Wednesday. Dan really likes it. Tom says that's bullshit. It's another Weird Job Wednesday. What are you doing? What is your job? Are you neat? Are you tidy? Or are you a fat slob? Do you make lots of money and you sit up in your tower looking down on all the people who are working by the hour? It's a Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Oh yes, it's Weird Job Wednesday. Just another Weird Job Wednesday. Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Weird Job Wednesday brought to you by StreamlineFlorida.com. You probably have some equity in your house. Time to refi, take some money out, pay off your credit cards, do with the best business decision possible for you and your family.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Or if you're looking to buy a house, use Brian Zymel and his team because they will make the process easy and ensure that you have the best chance to buy a house and get that mortgage that you need.
Yeah.
Because it's important now.
Having a couple of things you can do: get Streamline in your corner, and then go see the Bart Merrick team, and that's 2 steps that will point you in the correct direction.
Yes. So on the line with us for a weird job, Austin, who apparently his time is more important than our time, is with us, and just decides to call us half an hour late.
Do you have anything to say for yourself, Austin?
Well, I don't know. I woke up a little bit late.
I appreciate that. I like the honesty.
Yeah.
I appreciate you not, and I also appreciate you not doing what people I used to work with would do, where you call up and you're mad at us as a deflection technique in order to not get heat from us.
Why is the show like the great
Space
truth,
Coaster?
No, truth teller, as far as like he just told you that he thought the time was different, which was a valid excuse.
It's a very valid excuse.
And then he came on, he's like, I woke up late, he's just told the truth of why.
He lied to me. He told the truth.
Yeah, well, I lied.
But it's on the show.
No, I guess I did. No, I talked to my buddy yesterday, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's 8:30 our time. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll, set my alarm. And I was up, and then I checked my email, and then it was like, you guys ready for your call now? And I'm like, oh, crap. I got my times mixed
different
up.
time zone situation.
Yeah,
all over the place.
I'm over here. Yeah, I'm in Washington right now.
Oh, man.
So it's, yeah.
Yeah, that is
Washington, the state, not the D.C.
That's right, yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm in Lopez Island.
Lopez Island. Oh, my God.
That's where I get my tires.
Yeah, Lopez
my
Tires is
God.
awesome. They got the best price on retreads you could ever find.
All right, Austin, we're just messing with you. We don't care. But literally, we're like, all right.
Oh,
Yeah, we're like, oh, Austin's calling now. Great, because we did something out there. Like, this is how we run our business. We have chosen to be okay with stupid people. So you're good, man.
We're ourselves.
You came to the right spot.
All right, Austin, what's your
well,
job?
thank you so much. Well, my job is I own a luxury restroom trailer, and I bring it across the country, and I rent it out to a company that does these farm-to-table dinners.
So you just have one?
Love the air-conditioned luxury restroom trailer.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
Because it's ice cold when you take a poop.
Yes.
Yes.
It solves a problem, and we'll talk all about this, but the problem of porta-potties, which no matter what...
I'm okay with them. You're a little bougie.
No. Listen, I'm fine with
I still go to
porta-potties.
Walmart.
Hold on.
I do.
You got,
I do.
Why?
Because I enjoy it.
You can't enjoy it. It's
I
impossible.
enjoy
That's
it.
like saying you enjoy a porta-potty.
I don't want to lose the ability to relate to my constituency.
That's there's some other reason. That can't be it.
I like to show my ding-dong off there.
The porta-potty, no matter what, is you go into it and you're like, all right, I'm glad it's here because
I like it when they have the little mirror that's been plastic riveted to the side and you can't rip it off.
it's better than nothing because nothing means you have to go and there's no other place. So, like, you need the porta potties.
Is a porta potty better than just going behind a tree?
Yes, because
not for number one. I would fight you on that.
Well, in the woods,
number one in the woods is better than a porta potty.
Yeah, of course,
because a porta potty smells like poop.
I'm talking about at events and places you can't go behind a tree. It's the best option other than nothing, but it is the one step above nothing. And every time you walk into a porta potty, for the most part, at an event is even worse.
It's an oven.
But any
poo.
Any porta potty, it's hot and it's disgusting, and you look into the hole.
Never look into the hole.
I always look into the hole.
Well,
I try to break up what's down there with my.
And it's a travesty, and it's a nightmare.
I aim for the blue.
So the air-conditioned luxury trailer,
it usually has some sort of faux marbling in it too.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
it's I gotta tell you, every time an
Let
event
me tell you.
has that, or Dr. Phillips has that,
Yeah.
it's like you're like, all right, this is way better than the Porta-potty and actually worth probably the extra money the event spent on having these as opposed to Porta-potties.
Now, Austin, it's a camper sort of, right?
Yeah, it's made by Forest River, who makes a bunch of campers. Yeah.
So, how many stalls? What are we looking at? In the luxury Porta-potty trailer.
We need to buy one of these.
What does it come with? Standard.
Well, this one. So I do events. Usually, we do about 60 to about 300 people on average.
Yeah.
And so I've got 3 individual stalls on the front side and then 2 individual stalls on the back side. So 5 all day.
I like that.
5 all day. All right.
And so this is one, because the Dr. Phillips, I believe, it has one where it's like a public restroom where you walk in, there's sinks, and then there's stalls.
That one's sort of small. I believe that's a 2-seater. I think that's a 2 ding-dong, 2 vag. And what he's running is a 5 ding-dong, 5 vag.
Well, you got individual stalls, right? It's each stall has a door.
Yeah, it's classier. You get your own space, you know.
Oh, I like that. Do you have any koala care tables in there?
Oh, no.
Points off.
No, we just have a small. Yeah, I know. Well,
it's
not really like
any table in there for me to change my daughter and or put things up my nose?
Yeah, actually, on the 3 side, I've got a bigger stall, and you could probably change your baby on that on the sink where
So Austin,
or do anything else.
You say that
everybody in the chat room thinks he's 13 and he owns this company. You sound very young, Austin.
So you drive.
I just turned 30.
You drive around the country delivering this to different events? That seems inefficient.
Well, it's not. I've got a contract with this company that does these farm to table dinners all across the country, and so I drive my personal truck and then the restroom trailer, and then I just go from event to event to event, and I charge them what it's worth. So it's actually really good.
That's cool. And do you get to participate in any of the events, or are you just the toilet man?
Well, yeah. No. I get double duty, so I get paid to work the event as well.
That's cool.
So you're traveling with
the carny toilet.
Well, but he's like fancy, but he's fancy carny toilet.
Yeah.
Right. He ain't the scrambler. He's doing fancy farm to table dinner, still bringing the toilet, but it's a fancy ass toilet. I get it. This sounds good. This might be a loophole in the toilet game.
Do
you stay? Do you have a camper bed in your truck or something?
Please tell me you sleep in one of the potties.
No, I've got a camper on the top of my truck. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's where you stay there, and then you drop off the. Now,
are you single or married?
Single.
Yeah, that's a single lifestyle.
You ever brought a couple ladies up to the top of the cab and
You know it, buddy.
I like this guy.
I don't know if I believe that.
I like this guy. He's a toilet maverick.
So how does
not a couple, but singly.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Not a couple.
Gotta start
Was it
somewhere.
Kathy Ireland?
So do you have to go to dump stations like an RV and dump out the toilet after the event with a hose and the whole RV hookup type of deal?
Yeah, I use RV dump outs, but I've got a trash pump, and then I've got these 2 hoses, and then so I start at the trash pump, and then I got to hold the hose into the hole. It's not as easy as a RV where you just plug in the hose and it just kind of does it for you.
You got to pump all the turds out? Oh, man.
That's part of the job.
No, hold on.
The not so glamorous part.
Well, if an RV, though, can do automatic hookup, you just pull in the levers to switch the different areas. You got the gray, like that.
You still got to connect the hose.
Yeah, but you'd think that this thing, they'd throw a little money at it and at least engineer it in a way that it's efficient so he doesn't have to hold the hose. That's ridiculous.
Well, it's Yeah. I mean, I got it pretty good now. The first couple tries were a little bit, not so good, but now I got it down like a brewer with hoses,
Is there anything that
That's a bad comparison
that people have done to jeopardize the toilet trailer, like
vandalizing it?
Throw anything inside the toilets
Tampons?
that's messed up the system?
Anybody flush their thong down there?
Not yet.
Okay. So nobody's
These are classy events, guys.
Okay.
You don't flush your thong at a farm to table.
No, you don't.
Because you're eating purple carrots.
It's organic.
You're eating tiny purple carrots that are barely cooked, and so you're not gonna poop those out for 4 days.
So what does a toilet trailer cost? Like if I was out to buy one, like not rent, but I want to purchase and do your job, what are we looking at?
Well, it all depends on like how many stalls and like what type you want. The one that I bought, like I said, it's 5 stalls, and it's smaller because there's a lot bigger ones that you can see down the road that are just like big and white that just look a lot bigger. So I went with a more compact one, and then I put on some like additions to hold my generator and that trash pump, and so I think like all day it's probably like 28.
That's not bad at all.
$1,000. Yeah.
So about the price of a nice travel trailer RV.
If I wanted to rent you for one of Tom's parties so I don't have to track through his house to use the bathroom, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
Well, usually I hook my friends up, but and then it would depend on like the hours and the amount of people is what I usually go off. But you could spend
170 people. I need you 48 hours.
So 2 days. I don't know. Probably like for 2 days. Seriously, or
no? Well, a standard event. Don't listen to Daniel.
Probably about $2,000, somewhere around there.
Yeah, well, that's a lot.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. So he only has to do this about 12 more times. He's paid for his whole rig.
Hold on, go through your sales pitch to me. Like I'm doing an event. Let's say I got a BDM event coming up. I'm trying to cut corners.
You have a BDM event coming up, and you are trying to cut corners.
Yeah. I don't.
Why did you say? Well, let's say we.
I'm telling the real.
I don't know. You didn't. You said, let's say I have a BDM event coming up. I'm trying to cut corners. Just say that. You don't need to pretend.
I got a BDM event. I'm trying to cut corners. I don't want to spend too much because I want to save all the money for myself.
Yes.
And I'm looking at.
People don't want to poop behind Johnny's beer shack.
I'm looking at getting like 5 porta-potties. I believe last time I got 5 porta-potties. They're like $200 a piece.
I think we just used Butler's Jack in Boxes, right?
It was what do porta-potties I remember. I used to know the price of these things.
Why do you know that?
I think they were like $300 a pop, right?
Well, yeah, they were like $300.
I want to say they were like
expensive.
Yeah, they were expensive.
But I guess, yeah.
And we had a big one.
Them dropping them off and picking them up.
Remember, we had a big one for the Suggs farm when we did that one. We had one of the handicap ones.
I guess
somebody banged in
for 5 bathrooms. We're talking $1,500. I'd rather just spend the $2,000 for the luxury air-conditioned trailer. You sold me.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
God, you got him. You're a genius.
Because Austin, you will agree with me that porta potties are disgusto el barfo. It's every single one of them. I've never been to a porta potty and said like, no, this is like.
Isn't that bad?
I've been to a new one where it didn't have.
I like it
when you just dropped it off.
Yeah, when you're fresh, when you're the first number one in there, it's like amazing.
But no matter what, it's still like it just has.
It seeps into the plastic.
It's absorbed 1,000 doo-doos into the wall.
I always wanted to get a brand new one, right off the truck, fresh plastic, right from China. And then fill the well up with ice and cold beers, and you have to reach down in there to get a beer. And I always thought that'd be funny, right? Like you don't tell anyone. You just set it there at the party. It's clean inside. I mean, it's perfectly clean. And then you got fresh ice in there and a bunch of beer that you walk.
I don't think mentally I could do it.
Reach out and then grab a beer out.
Someone's gonna go on top of it.
Yeah, they are.
Be like, no, you went on the ice.
Wrong one.
God, you crapped on my pomegranate Mick Ultras.
Yeah. So Austin, let's talk about what you make a year. So is this your only business? This is what you do?
Yeah, the season runs, we got May to November, and then I do another winter tour, end of January through February. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll leave. I'll just leave the show.
And what are we talking? What do you pull down a year, Austin?
His pants.
I'm like 100,000.
What?
Wait a minute.
This guy sounds stoned out of his mind.
Hold on.
I'm quitting my job.
This guy sounds like a 13-year-old. He's high as hell.
Yeah,
He got a 5-seater. And he's 100
No
grand.
way.
2
I'm
turd
calling
seasons.
BS.
All he has to do
100
is
grand?
All he has to do is run
100
2 turd seasons.
Hold on. Is that total revenue?
I do a lot of events. Yeah.
Okay, so there's all the expense of gas and going from one place and food and all that stuff, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I keep my expenses really low. I mean, aside from like diesel and stuff like that.
I guess you're
but
staying in the
everything else is
camper.
pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Condoms and you know, flaming hot Cheetos.
It's better than being
Flaming Hot
a
Cheetos.
trucker, right? I mean, you're essentially doing
He
what
is
a
a trucker, but he's just hauling
Turds.
turds very short distances.
What you hauling?
Yeah, he's an over-the-road turd trucker.
Because this, at least you get to stop, and then you set up for the event, and then you can explore
You get to be
the
with
town.
the people. Now, have you noticed that different people's matter smells different in different areas of the country?
No, dude, no. I don't pay that much attention to it.
Yeah, it's worse.
You can't walk into a bathroom and be like, we're in Arkansas. 100%. Like, you
Dude,
can't
I remember we went to that toilet at Arkansas Airport was the worst thing ever.
It was bad.
Some cowboy walked out of there, and it was
He barely walked out of it. He barely.
I was like, well, I'll just go in my pants. It was
that
bad.
This old cowboy put his cowboy hat over his face like a mask, so he didn't have to smell it. He just smelled his
It
own
was
head.
so bad. Well, Austin, that's pretty impressive, man.
Yeah.
I did not expect
you
you making
freaked
that.
out. The whole chat room is quitting their jobs. They're all mad at farm-to-table events being overpriced. They're yelling and screaming.
His slogan is #1 in the #2 business.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
And do you have a home base, Austin, when it's not your travel season? Do you go and do local parties at
Please
wherever
say
you live?
Castleberry.
Yes.
No, maybe even worse. I'm from Leesburg.
Oh! We don't talk about that.
Central Florida all the way.
Yeah. Hey, I'm
Have
with
you ever been to the Leesburg Bike Fest?
I worked that one year. It was
You
rough.
worked it?
Yeah.
What'd you work?
I worked it too.
I ran sound for the bands out there.
Oh, really?
my
Oh,
God.
man.
God, you
That-
would have.
Ice.
I saw the longest pair of boobs I've ever seen at Leesburg. Long boobs.
Yeah. How did we promote that as something you want to go to?
It still happens every year.
I could not even.
Leesburg.
It's
Bike-
right
I'm not
around my
joking.
birthday every
I don't
year.
even care. If Leesburg Bike Fest marketing people came to us, they were like, hey, we want to involve Tom and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I cannot.
I don't know.
No, seriously, I could not even say anything good about it. I'm being truthful. I could not say.
Truth Tuesday.
I couldn't say, hey, go to the Leesburg Bike Fest. Oh, God, I can't do it. It's so bad.
Do you want to see?
It's
do you
not
wanna,
good.
Do you want to see Kevin DeBro from Quiet Riot?
There's nothing.
Where I think I watched Kevin DeBro from Quiet Riot sing his wig off. He had a purple
You want to
wig.
see Quiet Riot and eat
He's
carnival
gone. He's
elephant
dead now.
ears?
He's dead now. I feel bad.
Around, surrounded by the worst people.
He
in the world.
died.
I cannot say anything good about it.
Okay.
It's horrible. It's so bad.
You're making me laugh so hard.
I'm just.
That's Austin's hometown.
I'm sorry, but Austin agrees,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Austin, well, he'll.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's Leesburg Bike Fest. A bunch of trash bikers.
I'm just saying.
Oh, send your emails to Tom at TomandDan.com and defend yourself.
That's fun. Even the people that go there, they know.
We know what we are. You just tell Austin to bring that sweet 5-top up here, because I ate a lot of wings.
Yeah. All right, Austin. We appreciate you coming on Weird Job Wednesday.
Great job, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you.
All right, man.
You got the life, I think.
Ooh.
travel around, make some sweet money. And
see, that is a weird one though. To get into something like that, it's also sort of
traveling
passive
toilets
in a way that you get in your car. All you got to do is drive it there. You don't have your.
I like that.
I like it too. You don't have your boss breathing down your neck like where the hell? No, you just drive it up. You set it up, clean it, make sure it's nice.
Forget it.
And then you go visit the town. Let's say I'm in Nashville. I'm at this farm to table event at this beautiful farm, and I set up the thing. I'm going to go into town. I'm going to go to this brewery, and then after they're all said and done, I'll come back around maybe midnight when they're done, give everything a once over, hook it up, clean it, and pull on out of there.
Although
not bad.
I wonder if you just get tired of because you're not going to eat out all the time because it's too expensive.
I think he probably gets to eat at these farm to table events.
Maybe,
which is probably pretty good, right?
Sir, could you please take your poo emoji hat off?
But for the most part, you're probably just cooking in your camper in your back and like off of a mini stove or hot plate or whatever.
You're warming up something.
And but you're young, so I guess it's like whatever,
I mean, you could go into town and just get a regular meal somewhere.
No, I know, but it's like I remember. Have you ever eaten out so much that,
then my mouth gets sore? Hell yeah.
When we were literally during this time last summer when we were renovating the house, we didn't have a kitchen. We ripped everything out, and then so we were just having to do a lot of Uber Eats and to-go orders and stuff. Especially it was peak Corona too, so it was all.
I hate peak Corona.
We just got tired of eating in restaurants, and like to go is like you want. That was the first time
I cooked meal.
Yeah, seriously. And I never thought I would. I was like, man, I do not want anything.
You know what it is for me? It's sodium. I get over sodiumed, and I'm like, can I please have something that isn't like so salty that it's killing? Can I just have? Sometimes can I just have a salad with grilled chicken on the top of it? Just something nice.
I bet like over the road truckers and stuff like deal with that all the time, where it's just like you want a home cooked meal. There's something about it where you just get tired of eating.
We should start these restaurants for truckers, and then we should throw like I don't know some phrase to let them know that like cracker or something, and then something on the end of it to make them feel like a home style, almost like home cooking, sort of like. You following me? Mm-hmm. You picking up what I'm laying down?
Okay, yeah, I like this.
Like
idea.
a Cracker Barrel, like good home cooked eats.
Yeah, it's like all wood.
Yeah.
And you put some like
and then you walk inside,
old wagon wheels,
and slightly racist rock candy in there, right?
Oh yeah. A store.
Yeah, old country store, but put the E on old.
You sell some candles and some Halloween bric-a-brac.
Like a Toby Keith, Rob Zombie styled pea cutter hat. Maybe Jimmy Buffett, Santa Claus Village.
Oh, we'll put old-timey games on the tables.
Yes, everybody loves those, especially when you're supposed to be touching everything. Just go ahead and noodle those golf pegs. Noodle your golf pegs and get that Corona all down in there.
All right, bye-bye.
OG Show of the Week, and it's starring Jake the Snake.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. This is a double interview because this is... the second time we had Ian Bagg on the show. You're going to get that after the Jake the Snake Roberts interview.
Okay.
So this one's going to be a little different. He peed with the door open because he's a dumb old man.
He doesn't give a shit.
Well, I don't think he doesn't give a shit. He'd have to know what was going on around him, I think.
Yeah.
To give a shit. And I'm not going to say he doesn't fully know what's going on. And his family, we met his daughter who basically handles his life. They're super sweet people. But he did seem like the years of wrestling have taken its toll on him.
Oh, Jake. Yeah.
Jake's...
and he didn't mean to pee with the door open, but our door swings open if you don't close it all the way. Like, it naturally, gravity just pulls it open.
Well, he didn't pull it all the way
closed.
Yeah.
I mean, so while he was peeing, it just slowly opened, and I'm standing there. And then he's peeing... with this big
mega Hulk Hogan flaccid tan snake cock.
Yeah.
And then he turns to you and then he writes on the wall, stop trying to see my snake. He wrote that on our bathroom wall because he thinks you're gay now. Great job.
Those old wrestlers, man. We're watching the Ric Flair documentary, the 30 for 30. It's like that shit was a fucking crazy time that they all went through. And the stuff that was going on in the like peak wrestling area, like that generation of wrestlers was nuts. They're all fucking on steroids, pain pills, all addicts.
Yeah, well, the Twitch chat room's kind of echoing the sentiment here. Ghost of Manu Bull and Brock, both wrestling fans, I guess. They said, if you've never watched Dark Side of the Ring on Vice, go out of your way to watch the episode with Jake the Snake's dad, Grizzly Adams. Jake and his family come from a really shitty situation and were raised by horrible people. It's sad but interesting. And then, Brock says Jake's dad fucked him up.
I don't really feel like I need to watch that.
You could have been a wrestler. You could have been a wrestler, Sam.
Yeah.
I think Jake the Snake's documentary is real rough to watch, too. It's like at one time, like he's talking about like the snake died in the trunk, and he'd
ripped the snake when he got into. He pretended it was alive and is dead, and stinking in the back of the Cadillac or something. Yeah, he's got a myriad of dumb stories.
Yeah, remember, he would just have the snakes until they died in his trunk because you'd never feed him. It was horrible.
Didn't the snake bite some girl's titties?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that was a thing.
They would bite him up and shit. He was just an old. White trash biker, you know what I'm saying? All that era of
see him at the Leesburg Bike Fest this year.
You might be able to check him out. Yeah, he'll be there.
And it was just wrought with addiction, and there was, it was bad.
Okay, and then Ghost of Manute Bull continues. He says Jake's redemption documentary. Once he went to live with DDP and his horse teeth is pretty inspirational. I think Jake has been clean for 12 years now. Yeah, he's clean.
Yeah. But it's taken its toll. Like
hard also,
living
he's a
and
big
drugs.
guy. And big guys, when you jump around as a big guy and you get injured a lot, it doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
Sam's having the same problem now playing Mario Golf.
How
She's been beating herself up. It's talking. You're going to lose your knees when you're older. You're going to be like an old Jake the Snake.
Same knee that I hit on your truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Same fucking knee.
The injured one.
Oof.
You think who would win in a fight, Jake the Snake or Butler? Jake the Snake, right?
Jake, just on pure size.
Size and toughness, I feel.
Well, Butler would jump around really fast with like a sweatband on.
I feel like Butler's never been in a fight in his life.
Oh, is he here?
He also just told me he was learning French in elementary school, so I don't think he's ever been punched in the face before.
He's a lover, Butler.
Je t'aime.
Yeah, he likes the fancier things and the softer lifestyle.
Oh, he's offended now. He's coming in.
I knew you'd offend him. I knew you would offend him with I don't think Butler's ever been in a fight in his life.
Why is that offensive? I'm just saying I don't think
that's offensive to a guy.
It's offensive to a guy because it's as if you just told him that he's sucking major weenie.
What's wrong with that?
No, I have been in a fight. Absolutely. I literally beat the shit out of the guy. He pooped himself.
Yeah.
He pooped himself.
Another Olympic.
And he broke his hand.
For the Titanic rust and Butler being in a fight. So where was this fight?
10th grade. That he beat the shit out of him.
I literally beat the shit out of him.
Was this Fat Butler?
He was thick Butler. Yeah, it was 10th grade.
Yeah,
Lots of Doritos.
This is get them hands,
Dorito.
Butler.
So how did the fight start?
Man, it was weird. It was like some stupid juvenile high school.
So I'm doing
BS.
French, right?
I was dating a girl.
Parlez-vous français? Parlez-vous français?
Where was this at?
My 10th grade year, I was dating a girl that this guy liked for some reason, and he wanted to fight me over. He thought like if he beat me up, that the girl would be like, oh, and woo to him and go to him. And
hey, Dijon Ding Dong, I'm taking your girl.
So where'd you guys fight?
We fought in front of my buddy Brian's house, about a block and a half away from my house.
In front of Brian's house.
It was kind of like a mutual kind of ground area because he lived in this other part of my neighborhood, and it was just a middle ground.
So you met up in the front
yard. Yep.
And then
Brian walked out with the case, and he opened it, and there were two wooden hand-carved pistoleros in there.
And so I'm sure there was a crowd gathered around.
Small crowd, yeah.
And then you get in there.
You're thick, Butler. What does this guy look like?
He's kind of a scrawny redhead kid.
All right.
Oh, so you beat up the redhead kid.
Why?
So
Gingers have no souls.
It's a hate crime, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Do you take your Kangol off before you fight her?
Take off my Kangol before I fight you.
This was kind of like my hippie days. I probably kicked off my Birkenstocks.
All right. And then
no, you're not fighting somebody if you're wearing Birkenstocks.
Don't make me use my hacky sack feet. They're dangerous.
Barefoot.
And so did you get into...
With his long toes.
Oh, yeah. Toes came in handy.
Did you
came in handy.
Talons.
Did you get in traditional southpaw stance and start boxing, or did it go straight to hair pulling and winded? Winded on the floor, screaming.
Let go, bro. Let go, bro.
Yeah. You cool.
You cool. Let's shake on it. Let's shake. We learned a lot today. Yeah. Best friends.
You're trying to.
Let's rub our dicks together.
You're trying to do some MMA moves that you watched on.
I was just a boxer.
This was 10th grade.
Yeah, I was just
boxing.
boxing.
MMA was around.
Did you
back
grab
then.
him, or you're like, go to sleep, little man?
Tank Abbott was around like it was the beginning of MMA.
No, I like he got out of the car and just kind of started to swing at me. He missed, and then I kind of finished it. I finished it honestly with just a couple hits.
Finish him.
He didn't take much.
Mortal Kombat. He reached in his chest and pulled his heart out.
Well, I'm ambidextrous, so I can hit him with the left and a right.
Okay, so did you knock him out?
Give me a 1-2 skidoo.
I put him on his back, and then I got on top of him, and then I hit him several times.
All he
and then
did is he
peeled me
gave him a right and laid him out, and then he got on him, and then they were punching him, and then Herb had to come out and drag him off.
So you were on him like an MMA fighter, and you're punching him in his face,
and there's blood just flying.
And then
then
he pooped his pants while you're doing.
Yeah, he came up to. My brother was giving me a ride home, and he was like, he came up and told us that he shit himself. And then, funny enough, I actually just reached out.
Why would he do that?
This guy just reached out to me not too long ago.
I want to apologize to you for shitting your pants. I mean, my pants. During the fight, it was disrespectful of man of your fighting caliber.
Well, we need to talk to this guy, right?
We could, yeah. He's a Marine now. He would totally kick my ass.
Oh, he's a Marine now.
Yeah. This guy would totally kick my ass now.
It's a roller coaster.
So you beat up a Marine till he shit his pants. A United States Marine.
And then the guy that day, he's like, "I'll change my life. I'll never have a Dijon beat my ass again. I'm gonna become a Marine."
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna email him Facebook when he's working for a radio show, and I'm gonna apologize for shitting my pants that day.
Now you realize after the Titanic dust that I'm taking that into account.
Rusticles, sir.
The rusticles.
Yeah. That it's
these stories are just getting more and more crazy.
They're being mean as fuck in the chat.
I'm not even looking at it. It's real. What are they saying?
Imagine having a fat-titted English teen wailing on top of you while his big naturals graze your nose. It's too far.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
You can't make us laugh. It's not hurtful when you make us laugh.
The chance of this happening exactly as you explained
normally
we
could get my brother on the phone. Spencer was there. We could call him right now.
It would have to be somebody non-related.
Yeah, because he's gonna be biased.
We need to talk to the Marine and find out his account.
We can get David on the phone.
Can we get him on the phone?
I could reach out to David.
The Poo-Poo Marine.
It's gonna be just like the shaman shit, where it's like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Where am I?
What beach was
I'm in
it?
the jungle.
What are the chances that he has no recollection of this happening?
Who is
whatsoever? So you could get David the Marine that you beat up until he shit his pants on the line.
Why would he tell you he shit his pants?
Verify.
That was the day I became an American.
I'll let you read the email.
I dedicated my life to this country as a Marine.
He emailed you?
Yeah, he emailed me recently.
To say what?
Well, one, he was, not to get heavy, but he was talking about my younger brother and him passing, and how we handled that as a family, and he wanted to thank me for that, and kind of he's been going through some stuff. Yeah. And then it went on, and like I read actually. That was just that, and then I went back like previous conversations. He reached out to me a couple years ago, and he was telling a buddy at his work about how he shit himself while he was getting beat up, and he wanted me to verify that I actually beat the shit out of him.
Can you verify?
Funny enough, I swear to God.
This guy's into scat stuff, right?
I'm trying to get laid over here.
He wants people to know.
It's a funny story.
I'm trying to finger this girl, and nobody's vetting my story. Here, I'm going to hand you the phone. Can you tell him how much of a pussy I am?
Yeah.
So he wanted you to verify that you beat him up so badly that he shit his pants.
It was for a job interview.
I like that his friend didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if any of my friends, like one time a guy beat me up so bad I shit my pants.
You're too tough for that. I don't believe you.
Right.
I have to be like, that's embarrassing. Don't ever say that to me again. Don't tell anybody.
I don't believe
don't
that.
tell me that.
Why would you tell me that? I have to prove this wrong.
All right. Well, if we can get him on the line, I'd like to talk to him. Like, now, Butler was so good at fighting, he beat the shit out of you, literally.
And then that guy vowed to become a Marine and learn the ways of Butler's fighting, and then make foreign adversaries to our good United States shit their pants in fear.
Yeah.
So in a weird way, Butler's kind of
Steven Seagal
American
or something.
hero?
I don't know.
I wasn't
By
going to say
proxy.
it. I was going to
By
say
proxy.
it. I mean, he's definitely doing more for the country than we are.
So, Sam,
You're welcome, America.
Yes,
were you ever in some sort of
I wouldn't want to see Sam fight. That
scuffle?
I bet she kicked some girl's titties off.
Yeah.
I got in more fights with boys.
Oh, really?
Like neighborhood boys.
Like those ones on the internet that
like
I see?
a serious fight?
Like the ones where the ones at the end that you get to eat each other's. Like I
fought my brothers a lot, which got real violent.
Yeah.
Because parents didn't really stop it.
Yeah.
Knives were out, glasses were out.
Damn.
Yeah, it got
Knives were out.
It was hood, bro.
Yeah.
But yeah, I fought more of the boys because they were all my brother's friends and they like to talk shit.
And you would it turned
and
into
I was
fist
tall,
fights?
dude.
Yeah,
fist fights.
Goddamn. And
something kind of hot about
these
that.
are also like trash kids. They don't care they're fighting a girl.
There's
you know
something
what I mean?
like you know like there are women that say that when they watch MMA, I think I've heard your wife say this before, where there's something very animalistic, something very primal that it kind of gets the blood a pumping. I find women fighting. There's something very
their fights are better, that's for sure.
It jazzes me up a little bit, especially if I close my eyes and I pretend they're fighting over my love.
I only had 2 girls ever want to try and fight me, and then I'd call their bluff, and I'm like, all right, let's get off at the next bus stop, and then they would never.
Right.
They talk a lot of shit, but then they wouldn't.
Well, they're
actually
not even
going to
be able to get close to you. You're very tall.
I got reach.
Yeah, there's going to be very difficult for them to even, and you're fast for a tall person.
Yeah, the
sneakily fast.
The high school fights, it just seems like there's really no winner for the most part. I mean, you see some anomalies where someone ends up knocking
shitting their pants.
Well, yeah. There's the old
I saw
Butler.
some rough ones in middle school, man. Like busting people's heads on concrete
Oh,
and shit.
yeah, people falling down. Normally it'd be like
Bad.
a punch and then they'd hit their head. And
on
it'd
like
be
the stairs or something.
Yeah.
The most of the ones I've seen, it ends up the 2 kids hugging on the ground, pulling each other's hair.
Yeah,
and then,
that's the normal
and they're
one.
winded as fuck, and they're just like, be cool, bro, winded at the
Yeah.
end of it.
I didn't get many of the stereotypes in high. I got the period in the gym class. I got that stereotype. I got the meet me outside of the, meet me
Catch
at
me
X.
outside,
Yeah,
yeah.
meet me outside to fight. I got one of those. I'm trying to think of the other one, the quintessential, middle school or high school kind of bully fights. Oh, I had that. Remember, I had the guy.
Get a swirly?
I had the guy. Remember that was calling me short, and I punched him, Ian. I punched him. I broke his glasses or knocked his glasses off. It was bad. It was a bad. I won the day.
Right.
Didn't win the war, if that makes sense. It's not what they tell you. In Butler's case, maybe it was true. I was not there. But in my case, I had the day on the bus where I knocked Ian's glasses off or broke them. But then a couple days later, Ian found me alone and he beat the shit out of.
Yeah,
he
they'll
did
get you.
beat me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it doesn't
he
always
busted
end,
my nose. It was
glasses are expensive.
Yeah. But it wasn't like the glasses. Not a big deal. Like he beat me up.
The Jake the Snake. What do you think he made in his wrestling career? A lot of these guys didn't end up making that much money. It was kind of like the generation after
He
them,
was
right?
top tier. I mean, like at his top. Yeah, it would have been the generation after him. He was right before, I think. The concept
big money
of wellness or anything even came into it. And even when you had your Cenas and your Stone Colds and your Rocks and those guys,
those are the guys that
those are
made
the
the
big
money.
guys.
Yeah.
But also like the Hulk Hogan, because even in that
yeah, they were there.
Oof, his net worth is only $500,000.
Yeah, well, because he didn't
He needs
manage
to pull around some turd trailers and get that money up.
He blew a lot of his money probably, and
drugs
Those
and
bows
shit.
are expensive.
And then also probably didn't negotiate his own contracts very well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it was a lot of.
I mean, you could probably just stamp drugs on there, and there you go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just say
Steroids,
drugs,
whatever.
I mean, well, his wasn't steroids. His was alcohol and drugs, I believe. There's that one video. I feel bad for laughing about it now. There was one video that you and I notoriously would watch. It was the one where he was doing like a house show at some
gym.
some gym, and he's in the ring, and he's just blitzed drunk, and he's pulling his pants down and flopping out his snake, and
Yeah.
do you remember that?
the
Look
promoters
at it.
yelling at me,
and
yeah.
They're like, pull your pants back on. And he's
There's
pulling,
kids in the
and there's
audience.
kids in the audience. And Tom, they're like, oh my god.
It's like the lowest of the low.
Yeah.
And
I think that was the beginning of the
sad.
end. Like that was when it was like a few months after that or a year later, he was like with Diamond Dallas Page and getting sober, and that's when we met him. We met him sober.
Yeah. The fact that he's still alive
It's impressive.
Is a goddamn miracle. Like
all of his peers are dropping like flies.
With how much damage you did to your body, your brain, the drugs, the poison.
But so fun, my God.
So, like,
think of how much fun.
He's still alive. You're like, God damn.
I've been to a lot of parties, but I've never been to a cocaine, snake biting titties party. I can only imagine that's insane. You're just like out of here. It's just crazy.
Although
it's just crazy.
There's a lot of we glorify a lot of these crazy parties that happened. Although we never talk about the real bad shit that probably happened at those parties too. Like
you don't want to talk
real
about
it.
The girl dying and they shoving her
sexual
in the
misconduct.
The assaults and
misconduct.
And they're like, you're like, this is rape. Like this is you're describing rape. Like there's a lot of shit like that. You're like, oh God, it wasn't that. Like you're like, oh, awesome, but you're like, oh, bad too. Real bad.
Yeah.
Like real, where you're like, don't talk about any of this shit.
Yeah, no, that's why are you even trying to go to specifics? You just blanket statement. Just go snake and titties.
We're just like, so good time, but it's not that good.
No, it's kind of sad.
Anyway, that's. I mean, how old? He's in his 70s now, right?
I think he's like 66, right?
Late 60s.
I mean, it's when I saw him, it's like, whoa! It's
I just remember him moving so
he's 66.
slow. Like the way he walked was so slow. He just kind of lumbered everywhere, and it was sort of like
he has got to feel like I never really met my hands.
My neck, my back,
like
my hands.
I'm getting pissed off because anytime I do anything, like I try to dig in my backyard or like really it's the digging part where it's any sort of a repetitive, like if I hammer or anything, my hands get so sore.
You got bad arthritis.
Like where I'm like, oh God.
Carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
His mom has. You got to get the surgery and you got to wear the gloves.
And then I'm like, fuck, that's some old shit, or like that's some, like my body deteriorating or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like
40 and I don't have that.
Could you imagine, you motherfucker? Like, I knew I shouldn't admit it. I can't wait to do a physical challenge.
This guy lives for Double Dare.
Boxing match between Tom and Butler?
Oh, it's going that way. I mean,
he's gonna make you shit your pants, Tom.
Watch out! You'll be a Marine in no
shit
time.
Right out of your chubbies.
I can't figure out a scenario where there would be no reason for me to do it.
No,
I don't want to do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Because
Leesburg Bike Fest.
No, if anything, we'll have Remy fight a fighting robot.
That is one of the best bits I've ever heard on the radio.
I love that bit with the fighting software. Man, that was a good bit.
It was all garbage though, and then I know the reality behind it. But listening to that was the quintessential, like, holy shit! Like you're fucking glued to your radio.
Yeah,
Listen, you're like, I can't.
Was.
And the what you were envisioning in your mind was totally ridiculous.
It's funny. It's one of the only radio.
It doesn't live anymore. You can't, because now everything's exposed.
Yeah, there's too many cameras. The cool thing about this is a particular bit that we did back in the day. The short of the long was that it was this guy said he had a fighting robot from like Thailand, and it had like a series of fighting software that needed to be downloaded on it for it to fight people. And then I guess you and Whopper Jr.
I know, this was before I was on the
Whopper
show.
Jr. was going to fight it.
I was a listener.
Yeah, Whopper Jr. was going to fight it, and then so they got there, then they said the software wasn't there, but it was just like they built it up so big that if you had asked anybody listening to it to draw what they thought the robot looked like, everybody's version would probably be different, but it was like a really good bit.
But then, he also ended up fighting it. It was back when theater of the mind still existed, and you could still get away with.
It was just acting, really.
Yeah, and just describe, and then that's, I did a lot of that shit too, where it's all kind of fake or whatever. You're describing this grandiose thing, and then
you were really good at it.
People's minds will go to the best thing. It's you're cheating the system almost because you're doing everything through audio, and then all the listeners would imagine something 10 times greater than you could ever even do in reality.
Well, that's why I've always liked radio, because and why I like doing voices and personas. Really, I don't really even do voices. I do almost like personas, is because I know that I can, for the most part, create a character just based on what I'm saying or doing that you'll see. And if I can get you to see close to what like you're saying, your mind will take over and actually do a better job than I could, even if I drew it. You're going to do a better job. Everybody's got an imagination, whether or not they turn it on.
Now, this is old man shit because we're just complaining about things that don't exist anymore. But me and Crystal were talking about the fact that there is no secrets and all the most beautiful places in the world are already discovered, and basically a million pictures and a million videos I've done, and then just attracting everybody there. And then so every place that's beautiful in the world you show up is going to be trashed by 1,000 people, you know, because everybody sees that, and it's all the internet's created no more secrets and no more cool hidden gems, and there's none of that.
Sleeper places to go.
And we're like, man, the boys are never gonna have that because they're living in a time where it doesn't exist anymore. I wonder, can never exist.
I wonder if they'll find their own version of that. That's normally what happens, is that people.
Well, they're not going to miss it because they'll know no different.
Yeah, but they'll have a version of that. There'll be something. I don't know if it's a corner of the internet. I don't know if it reverts back to land. Yeah, I don't know where we are yet on the whatever pendulum or how it's swinging, but I think they'll have a version of something that it's kind of like that, and they'll be complaining about the same thing when they have kids.
Of course. Everybody just complains and compares themselves to generations before them, so it's like, oh, we had it this good, and the new generation's never going to have it. I understand that. It's just there is something that pre- and post-internet, a real big change that at least we're lucky that we lived and we got to experience that.
I got to go to the Springs when there was no line to get in. Something as simple as that. I know that's the only example that's the first example that popped into my brain, but I haven't been to the Springs in probably a decade. But anytime I've tried since then, the lines have been so long, or they're at capacity because everybody goes to the Springs. I'm glad that, like you said, when I was a child, my dad would bring me there, and there'd be maybe 17 people at the Springs. It's pretty awesome.
Or any place that you saw where it was deserted, and you're like, wow, there's nothing here. Not that many people here. It's this is a beautiful place with nobody here. It's not going to exist much in the future.
Yeah.
I mean, even the parks.
Stop having fucking kids.
Even the parks around here. I go into a park, I look in the woods, and there's a whole family. There's 1,000 people at the park. I'm like, wow.
I remember going to Blue Springs and skinny dipping in college with Logic Man Andy, his girlfriend Crystal, and I think Grizz was with us.
The beginning of Soapy Boat.
And we just drove to Blue Springs and drove in the middle of the night and then just walked into the spring and jumped in. I mean, you couldn't fucking do that now.
I don't think you could.
I mean, first
got
there's
a park ranger gate right there.
There's cameras, I'm sure, or some sort of alert system. Even though there's campers there, you could probably sneak to the springs and skinny dip.
You know what? You're hitting on something that's absolutely correct. You're freaking me out a little bit. I remember what it felt like in living in a small town like DeLand and knowing that we were going to have a party out somewhere. We're going to get a keg of beer, right? And we're going to meet somewhere. And we would just drive to somebody's property.
Yeah.
Normally it was like a cow pasture, and there'd be cows out there. And then even the guy that owned the cow pasture would roll up on us. What are you kids doing? Oh, just having some beers. All right, keep it down. Don't make a mess and clean up after. Very... That's not going to happen.
I went to a weird farm techno party once.
Yeah, we went to Everglades parties. I think that still probably happens.
Which I think it was actually the Smoking Giants property.
The intern?
Yeah, I think
really?
It was him.
Oh, wow.
There was a weird time in my life.
Yeah.
Teens will still go out to the woods and drink. That, I think, will always drink and
sometimes
do drugs.
Getting on people's property is a little bit different now than it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean. I should have prefaced. Going on people's property back in the day, it was you just apologize and be like, hey, I'm really sorry. We didn't
you get shot.
Yeah. You got to be really careful.
Warning shots flying over your head.
And it's and now through social media, everybody just shows each other what they're doing, and it's no secrets anymore. But I can't think of where is a beautiful unknown place?
North Korea.
I'm still surprised
stuff up there,
that you can go to King's Landing and still rent a canoe without being a line out the door. I'm still surprised that place.
Last time I went, it was fucking slam packed. That was last July though.
I've seen a lot more Facebook stuff about King's Landing and a lot of views and look at this hidden gem in Paradise and
100%
and Florida. I'm like, no, because it is awesome, but
it's incredible.
it probably we're leaning close to it being too overcrowded to the point where you can't even get in there, right?
Some places I've noticed that some places are taking steps to kind of preserve it by like monitoring the number of people that can use it,
limiting it.
Just so it just doesn't get destroyed.
Or they jack up their prices a little bit. And it kind of keeps out some of the riffraff.
I'm actually okay with that in the fact that I just want it to be preserved. I don't necessarily want it to go away. So it should be used, but it shouldn't be overused.
It's like the catacombs in Paris where they literally set a limit to the amount of tourists that can go down there. And although I'm sure the generations in the past, like, oh yeah, you can go down there whenever you want.
Right,
so
right.
now
It's
they're
different
pissed
now.
off
Right.
that there's if you're not in line in the mornings, you can't get in. But all good places are going to probably end up being like that. It's like if you don't get in early, you don't reserve your spot months in advance, you'll never be able to experience it. And there was a time where you just drive there and it's like, hey, you never heard about this place? It's right down the street. There's none of that anymore.
Like my wife wants to go back and see. Remember when we saw those goats? Did you go to that? Or was that me and Juan?
The goats?
Yeah. Were you at the goat thing?
I don't want to see those stupid goats.
Yeah, I don't want to do it again either. My wife's like, we're going to go see the goats again. And the last time we went out there, it's just one goat. It's like a pregnant goat. You got a big old distended, gross goat belly. It's disgusting. I don't want to touch that. Get that thing away from me. I kick that thing right in its goat belly.
My kids have never been. That's an old person thing, I think, from our childhood, where there used to be petting zoos. And
May likes it.
Does she like that? Man? Like the petting
She's
zoo?
a simple woman.
Because my sons are not impressed by goat petting zoos and all that. I remember when I was a kid and going to the Miami.
I feel like
digital
your
boys.
kids are afraid of animals.
No, they're digital boys. They don't. They're not into. They're like a Minecraft goat.
They're not afraid
They don't
of
like
animals.
dogs.
They're not. No, they're fine. They're better with dogs now. They're older, but it's they're just not. They're like not impressed by a goat or a chicken. They're like, oh shit, let me go touch this goat. They're just like, oh, is that good?
Yeah, May's all into animals, so maybe that's just an animal thing.
I got attacked by a rooster at a petting zoo when I was a kid. It was
May.
Is that a girl thing?
It might be a girl thing. Like May's going to the farm, her Andrea's dad's place this weekend actually, and she gets to feed the chickens and like take care of the. There's some cows there, and they're gonna do a bunch of little farming things.
Yeah.
She's like totally stoked on it.
That could be.
It might be a girl thing.
Because they're more nurturing and
Yeah.
they like taking care of animals more.
I could see that. Yeah.
My sons don't give two shits about any animals.
She has a bunch of baby dolls, and she likes like Maggie the dog. She'll like walk around with her and be like, "Oh, it's my baby," like she's there's a nurturing thing going on there. I'm sure.
Maybe she grew up with dogs in the house too. Maybe that has something to do.
Probably,
with it.
I would think so. Well, enjoy Jake the Snake, and then after Jake the Snake, you're going to get Ian Bagg, who we were supposed to go out and see him in California like 2 years ago.
And you were supposed to Zoom with him last year, and then he stopped texting me back.
Yeah, it's just we had stuff happens. Probably a whole Tom Rhodes scenario again.
No, he's cool.
Yeah, no, Ian's good. So enjoy that, and we'll see you on the BDM show.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that every time I hit the button, for whatever reason, because I'm remoting to a different computer, that it stutter steps. And I feel like it messes up the entire timing of what we do here, and I just can't work like this. I'm sorry.
I didn't even notice. What you tell me
I could just see it in your eyes.
2, and then you do
Yeah, but then I'm like, but no, but I don't. I go 3. Hold on.
2.
Hold on.
That's fine. I'll sit here until you just point at me.
Okay,
and I'll
that's
just
what we'll
start
do.
yelling.
That's what. Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. That's just professional broadcasting at its finest.
So Dan Reed is here from Cafe Da Vinci's. How you doing, Dan?
Ooh, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good.
Well, I mean, you got to be back in it now, right?
Back in it.
Yeah, back in it. Already booking the events. I saw that apparently everyone I know went to see Cashed Out.
Yeah.
Every friend that I have was there to see that show.
Big turnout.
Very popular, those guys, the young boys and the reggae.
So let's talk about some upcoming shows at Cafe Da Vinci, and then I'm going to complain to you about something.
Perfect. I love complaints.
Yes.
And it's mainly about, it's a band thing I just thought of.
Oh, no.
And I want to know the inside business of it. And Dan will know because Dan's been in this business for a while. He's seen a million bands, has seen them a million different ways.
And denied them all, green M&Ms.
So what shows are coming up at Dimensions?
Most notably, I think our next ticketed show is going to be next Thursday, the 22nd. It's a band called Little Stranger.
All right.
Hey, that's me.
I know. A indie hip hop duo. Formed in Philly and from now Charleston, South Carolina.
Sweet.
If you get a second, give them a little quick search, and they've got some really good stuff out there. I kind of equate it to Beck's old style, like for Mellow Gold. That beat, backbeat is real nice.
Yeah, like almost like a lo-fi boom bap.
Yeah,
kind of. Yeah, all right.
But the flow is a little more funky and a little more hip hop than Beck was.
How does a group like that contact you? Does an agent, like a booking agent, go through the tour? Like, hey, we're going through Central Florida, and then contact a bunch of how does that work?
So mostly, yes. Mostly the internet is kind of Facebook. My partner Mark Dam, who has never really been here, he is the booking master for Cafe Division.
Okay, right.
Little Stranger.
Yeah, here we go. It's like a little intro here.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, this is the music my pop-up used to listen to in the truck. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. Tom Van. On the mic. You want to freestyle? Do it.
Okay,
Tom Van, Little Stranger. Cafe Da Vinci. I thought you were going to do something. I thought you were going to do something.
When have I ever done anything?
Good point.
Yeah, it's an excellent. It's an excellent way to end it. Thanks for coming in, Dan.
See you guys later.
So do they just email you? And
a lot of times it's Facebook. Sometimes my partner Mark has a lot of booking connections. He's been booking bands for 15 years now. So a lot of times bookers will call him because they know he books for multiple venues.
So how do you know whether they're good or not? If because
like this, you would go.
Yeah,
and you
you
would
check out their music.
You go to Spotify and type in Little Stranger.
Yeah, but then
these guys are good. I like them.
Yeah, they're real good.
Let me ask you because
check out the video for "Sing It High." Go.
Okay, Sing It High.
Because some music I listen to, I can generally tell that's popular. Maybe not my favorite music, but it's good.
Yeah,
I can say good or bad or whatever, whatever genre it is. But I think my own subjectivity would start leaking in, and then which would be bad for business because I'll be like, well, these people may have a huge following. I guess I could just look on social media, but then how do I know where they're popular? Like it could be locally, and it's like they come down here, and then no one knows who they are, and then my business suffers from it. Like, how do you make that decision?
Well, that's a tough decision to make because you don't always know. There's bands that can have a lot of regional popularity. And then they get to Florida or they leave Florida and they're kind of,
yeah.
So it's the old school way of doing it before the internet was popular was you would get a digital press kit you'd get a press kit in the mail. And it would be flyers, and it would be attendance at shows, and it would be where have we played, and those kind of things.
Oh, like proof of how popular they are?
It's exactly what we do with a client.
Now,
we show the numbers, where our listeners are from.
Same thing.
Okay.
And now it's just the internet. It's here's our YouTube links, here's the video, here's the shows we've played, and it's all digital age now, but it's the same but different.
Gotcha.
And instead of a hip hop duo, we're more of instead of like a boom bap, we're more like a D fart. Kind of a vibe, No, we don't have any samplers, but we do have like digital interfaces.
Is there a tell, like when you book an act and you like right away, as soon as you announce
well,
it,
if you hear them on the other end of the phone, if they're like, he went for it, then I feel like, yes, we booked something. God, we got our first gig. We got our first gig.
Because, Dan, I'm sure there's been both ways of this, and I'll explain. I'm sure there's been acts you book, and you're like, I don't know, like this, I have a bad feeling it's not going to be, and then all of a sudden it's slammed, and you're like, oh my God, these people have a huge following.
Right.
And then the opposite of like they're playing in front of nobody, and you're like, oh God, I blew it. Because is it ever a gamble like that?
It's always a gamble.
Okay.
Every show is a gamble.
And do you have a tell? I mean, obviously ticket sales and stuff, but can you tell them like immediately when people start calling? Because for here,
what do you want? Like a surprise where like no tickets are sold, and then like right before showtime, like because I'm sure it happens.
I'm here to tell you the scariest one ever. I'll give you the scariest one ever.
Yes, this is great.
Was Afro Man's second show at Cafe Division.
Yes, I remember Afro Man
After he punched the lady?
I remember
No,
Afro
long before.
Man.
Long before.
Before the punch.
Afro Man 2, these bitches gone crazy.
The day of the show, we had 6 tickets sold.
And that was just to his band.
6. That night, 397 people walked up and paid at the door.
Wow. 391 not cool people.
So literally, you went into that day thinking this is going to be a bust.
Yeah.
Who wants to see this guy beat up women on stage?
Yeah, it was crazy. Crazy. I couldn't believe it.
So, and has there ever been like a band that you for sure, not to call anybody out, but maybe it's going to be old school, but you for sure they were going to be a hit and then just nothing?
Duds.
I think the most notable one for me, and they're actually coming back again in a few months to give it another go, but was Authority Zero.
Yeah.
We did that show a couple years ago, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll probably pack the house. It was like maybe 100 people.
Same thing at West End.
One more minute.
I
didn't even know.
Remember what happened at West End? And we did an event right before Authority Zero. And then when our event was done, you would have to buy another ticket to go to the Authority Zero show. And nobody went into there. And so I peeked in there. They're like, one more minute. There they go.
He's doing the 1 more minute.
20 years old.
You might want to wait 1 more minute for some people to show up.
You blew it, Authority Zero.
Authority Zero, maybe should have named yourself Authority 397 people. How about that? Not Authority Zero people.
They said it in their
I
name.
can do this all day. I'm a mean person.
So here's my complaint. If I was in a band, all right. So it seems to me
this is what you wanted to wade through everything.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
we're
but-
here.
So I assume that just from talking to these different bands and seeing like they're all just a bunch of different small businesses, and each one is set up differently, and sometimes like there's 2 main people or 1 main person that's like is in control of everything, and they just hire musicians to play, and they pay them a wage to play in their band.
Right.
Sometimes the band came together all at once and came up together, and it's all an even split, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going with the even split model in this argument, because that's kind of my old friends that were in punk rock bands. Is like anybody that came up together, they all split it evenly.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like when you're on tour like this, the drummer gets the worst end of everything because just from the sheer amount of equipment
set up and tear down.
I'm with you.
And tear down, and then the size of everything, the cases, and like
I mean,
all
you
of
got
it.
2 drummers on your show here, sir, and I agree with you. I'm with Sam.
And it seems unfair if I was the
My
drummer of a
guys always
band
help me.
of an even split. Okay, there is.
Yeah.
Is
Sorry,
it everybody helps?
I don't want to
Okay.
blow your thing.
Oh,
but,
no, I'm
okay,
asking.
in
I don't know.
No,
in any band that I played in, the guys would help. If
Yeah.
I was the drummer, they would help me out. 'cause
Typically, yeah.
But it
pain in
seems
the
like
ass.
they would just help you carry the stuff to the stage, and you would set it up.
No, they helped me
right?
pack up because
Oh,
I had
okay.
cases.
Pack
I was
up.
running full hard cases, so everything needed to be all, your toms, everything, all stands come down, all cymbals get pulled.
Or you get to the point you have a roadie and they're just doing all the grunt work.
Never got
right?
to that point,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay, yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I'm
yeah.
here.
Good luck.
That's why I'm here.
So the other members of the band help the drummer.
For I'll speak for my band.
No.
Oh, they're not always there?
No.
I can speak for my band. We always help the drummer. Me, I help a lot because I don't have any gear. I just sing these days. I mean, I have little shakers and stuff like
Nice.
that. And then I've seen plenty of other bands. I've noticed, though, a really emerging trend for drummers is the cocktail kit.
Yeah.
They're all coming out with a bass drum, a snare, and maybe 1 floor tom and a couple cymbals, and that's pretty much it. And they're
Very
starting to
lean.
lighten that load.
Not the whole.
Not the arena
rush.
kit.
The Neil Peart, or however you want to say
Yeah.
it.
You have 5 splash cymbals. Why do you need that many?
I think I'm in Primus.
There was a time.
No, you're not Herb from
what-
Primus. You're
what-
not Neil.
What's the kit that has like a scaffolding
With
built
the rack?
in it?
The rack, yeah.
It's like you have.
I never got to that.
You're
I always
playing the
thought those were
goddamn
douchey.
the Sweet Dreams. What is it called?
It's like a wind
What is a
chimes.
wind chime?
You've
Wind
got
chimes,
wind
yeah.
chime, you got a gong behind you.
Yes.
Cowbell
You
for
got a
sure.
cymbal.
Yes.
Cowbell's useful, but like I always thought the cage that guys would run, but I always thought that was douchey as hell.
It is, but
I was like,
that's-
you don't even need that.
Yeah.
I want to be a dad band that has the insane.
They exist. They
You're
exist.
carrying a gong. to the
Well,
back.
hey, do you want to go
For
with
one
me?
song,
Do you
just
want to
hit the
go
gong.
with me on
Right, one
Saturday to
song.
Mr. Pub? Do you want to go with me on Saturday to Froggers? Because they're out there.
It takes 3.5 hours to set up. You're setting wind chimes, a scaffolding, like every.
I like it when the drums are so loud that when the guy does the first beat, the 1, 2, that it's so loud that it's blowing pitchers of beer and you can't even hear the guitar because this guy, like, he doesn't need to mic his drum kit. It shouldn't be inside a wing restaurant.
Is there or has there been any sort of move to make it easier and like backing tracks and things that make the whole thing easier for the band? Like it's kind of lazier, but
just press play.
Well, it's just not that they're pretending to play, but I'm just saying there's some sort of back music that they're playing on top of.
There is a band, and I won't say their name just in case they don't want anybody their spot blown up, but they're a very popular. They're about to be doing some Disney shows. They've played in Sanford a lot.
Okay.
They definitely use a lot of backing tracks, but they also do a very physical, kind of hokey, dancey show, which is great. It's awesome for what they do.
It's kind of like what we do when we do our live events. Backing track, a lot of choreography.
Yeah.
So they definitely
a lot of costume changes.
It's kind of set up for that, where it's like, hey, we're putting on a performance, and then our musical ability is not necessarily important in the situation.
Yeah. And there's a couple other bands that come through that definitely use some backing stuff, as opposed to trying to have 17 people on stage making every sound. They'll use a little backing track for stuff, but
because you get less money that way,
right?
So do you think business model, you've been in this industry a long time for bands, do you think there's any more longevity to the, hey, only a couple members of the band or one has the full say over the whole business and they just hire the musicians? That seems like that could work longer than everybody has equal say, because that is going to go poorly, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, though. You can't really get to the hiring musician stage until you're making a lot of money.
Like the one that I'm for instance that I'm using is the band Ghost. So you had a front man with like basically the idea and the imagery and the songwriting, and he was working with people and was, as you say, giving percentages. And it didn't work out well because people would leave, and then he'd have to fire people, and then eventually those people came back and started suing him for past royalty because, remember, they became very popular.
Right.
So now Tobias Forge, I believe that's his name, has decided that, I'll just be the guy, and I'll hire a bunch of guys, and then these guys will wear masks, and you'll never know who the guys are, because when we saw them, they're backup singers. They had one little girl that was shorter than me, like a little black girl with the demon mask on, could sing her ass off, but he just like, screw it, I'm going to hire the best backup singers, no matter what they look like, put the masks on them, and let them roll, And
then I could switch them out whenever.
Correct. And then you also, and this can be dangerous, but not for this guy, I don't think, because I think he knows where he's going, but, now you're surrounding yourself with, it's your vision and no other option.
Yeah.
So, and that can be dangerous for some people. I don't think it is for him, because he's not surrounding himself with yes people. He just knows what he wants to execute.
I remember a little bit surprised with, my wife's a big fan of the Avett Brothers, and
only three guys, really.
Our buddy Andre still talks to the drummer, who we call Mike Agency, because he was in a punk rock band called The Agency.
Right?
But yeah, he's hired as their drummer.
There's only three guys in that band.
And he tours around with them and has been with them for a long time. But Andres was talking to him the last time they were down in Miami or somewhere maybe at the Hard Rock or whatever, where he was like, hey, like, do you guys hang out with the brothers or he's like, no, never hang out. Like, if literally I show up to the gig, we ride in separate buses, they got and then I perform and then I break everything down and go to
when they're on stage,
they ever even hang out.
When they're on stage and they lean into each other and they're singing, they're
performing
heartwarming songs at Red Rocks. I'm like, look, they love each other. Like, they've never
they just don't hang. Yeah, but it's not about that. It's their business, it's their job. He plays.
I know.
And it sounds.
But I want them to live together in a house. And I want them to eat cereal together. And
in my opinion, studio musician is the best way to be a rock star, because you don't have to deal with all the rigmarole of the paparazzi and everybody all over you, but you still make a lot of money.
One of the sweetest
he likes
gigs,
it better that way too.
Well, yeah, one of the sweetest gigs I ever. And you might know this guy Jeff from Jeff or other people, or just your lineage in the music field. But Jeff Howe used to play with what's the guy's name? Little guy plays guitar, and his gig, he's an excellent, just a phenomenal studio session guitarist, but he went on the road with these boy bands in the late 90s, early 2000s. And what a great gig. You stand on stage, There's a million people in front of you, so what a great audience to play in front of. You're playing like pretty easy stuff with the best equipment, the best arenas and everything, and then at the end of the day, you get a fat check and nobody knows who you are.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah,
You get to see the biggest arenas that no one will ever get to play. You know, you're playing like the Staples Center when it was that.
Right.
You know, you're playing Amway.
Yeah, but they're here to see the boy band. They don't give a damn
You
about your
don't
guitar.
care. You don't care.
Yeah, but and there
You
are a bunch
never
of
have
teams,
care. You're
and they
playing
don't.
in a boy band.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You at least get the audience and the adrenaline rush of being on stage, which probably no matter what, you're still getting energy, right?
I was thinking more of the check because those things were making so much money, those bands. So you were getting paid very well.
Yeah. And the pay is good. I'm just saying it's hard to substitute that the audience like going the rock star over you.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
Like,
I don't
then,
think
like,
his
worshiping
ego,
you.
Yeah, I don't think his ego was involved at this point because I think he'd already gone down his singular path and realized real early on, like,
Yeah.
I'm in it for the
yeah.
duration, so I'll take the nice sweet gig and make a ton of money.
So Dan, where can people see all the upcoming shows at Cafe Da Vinci?
Our Facebook profile picture is always our calendar for the month. It's
All right,
always
that's
our
easy.
lineup. It's
Great
super
idea,
easy.
my God.
It's
Common
super
sense.
easy.
Common sense. Look for the photo.
I have
That's all
people
we
message me every day. They're like, "Who's playing this weekend?" I'm like, "Just check our."
Why don't restaurants? Okay, hold on. You could start something. Why don't restaurants make their Facebook picture their menu?
Their menu.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
It makes sense, and so follow Cafe Da Vinci on Facebook, all social media. You'll find out when the shows are coming. Also a watering hole, so
Indeed.
go by and ask for a Tom
My
and Dan
hometown,
koozie.
so go there and have a beer where I had one of my first DeLand beers.
Legally.
Legally.
Yeah, right.
Always important.
Legally. You weren't even there then. No.
Dan, we appreciate it, man.
Good
Thank you
seeing
very
you,
much.
Good to see you guys.
Again, check out Cafe Da Vinci and DeLand. We'll see you next segment. Bye-bye. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
Welcome back indeed. I'm Dan.
So, I have two stories from going to Blizzard Beach.
You saving
this
these for the
past
Friday free
Sunday.
show? You saving the meat?
I'll save one of them because the one of them is significantly more funny. But
I was curious as if to. My wife even asked last night at dinner when we were sitting in silence, and all you hear is the cling clang of the
utensils,
the china, like because we don't talk. It's very very sad movie dinners.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're watching a movie and it's just like the ching chong, and nobody's talking, and then the dad is like, "Well, is anybody gonna say anything for themselves?" You know, like that kind of a thing.
Yeah. That's called the American Beauty.
Yeah, that's how we eat. We do the American Beauty. All I'm doing is thinking about the neighbor's daughter.
I haven't seen that movie, but now I feel weird.
Is that what he
to
was
go back
doing?
and
Was it
watch
the neighbor's daughter? I don't know.
think so.
Daniel has Nazi plates.
I do not. Well, why would you say that? I do not have that. That's Butler has that. He's an older soul.
Anyway, so I want to find out what you guys would do in this scenario. So we're at Blizzard Beach, and I'll tell you on Friday. Like it's my wife's birthday, and this is what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
you butt out.
No, I'm just I'm in good mood mode,
Yeah.
and that's all.
Put
I
on
can
a happy
But was
face.
it?
Yeah.
You can
I'm
tip
miserable
it
the whole time.
but you can tip it. It's not that bad, man. But
But
you
were
can,
you medicated the whole time?
But you can tip it where if you're being too much, if you're like, "Oh, you're having a good day," then you're passive aggressive.
Right.
I was just like, I was quiet.
You're
yet
like
stern.
Tampa Bay. Let's go.
Quiet and stern.
And I was
Stand by.
not complaining,
back.
not showing anything on my face,
Yeah.
no tells.
So you were just like, you're like, meh.
Anyway,
So you were dead. You were playing dead.
we I gotta tell you though, if you the rides that you have to walk up an insane amount of stairs,
Yeah.
have the least amount of people waiting in line,
Of course.
because the stairs
Well, there's
keep
a
the
few-
chunguses out.
There's
Seriously.
there's really only one because the other ones you can ride the ski lift, right?
No, there's a couple. There's like 3 in the back.
No, I know in the
Yeah,
back you walk.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
the big ones you're riding the ski lift.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
not going on that.
Yeah. The
like
ski
crazy.
lift has a long line though, and you can skip it by going up the stairs, but
Yes.
it's a lot of stairs.
Yeah.
Anyway, it murdered my feet. But
Oh,
the
yeah.
whole at the
I'm
end of the day, my feet felt like Ramsey Bolton had tortured my feet all day.
Oh man, put them in a box.
So anyway, we're at
Gotta get water shoes, bro.
It's like Crocs. They're too nerdy
Crocs.
for me.
You need Crocs. No, water shoes are nerdier than Crocs.
Oh,
Crocs
I got
are
'em.
in right now.
Yeah. I got them.
You got Aqua socks?
Yeah, I'm gonna wear them.
You know what?
At the beach.
I admire that you are leaning into your garden grandma ways.
No, people from
See,
Missouri wear
Sam's
Aqua
confident.
socks. Why are you?
Well, I'm not tearing my feet up like you are.
It's just the only guy who says nothing matters and he doesn't care what people think is the
Right.
only
He
person that
cares
cares what
about
people
everything.
think.
No, but Aqua socks
I got my
are-
Crocs on today. I'm a dog person. Hashtag dog person.
Aqua socks are for nerds. There's no way to look cool in Aqua socks.
I'm fine with it. I don't care if I look
but
cool.
if you don't care, you don't care. I thought you didn't care, bro.
Look, I'm there. I'm gonna be with my husband. What do I care?
Well,
I'm not trying to pick up dudes with my Aqua socks.
What, you're trying to pick up dudes with your Aqua socks, Tom?
Just know that you look like a nerd.
That's fine.
Is that all right? I just wanted to put it out there.
I think the big T's make up for the Aqua socks.
That is right.
You know what? If you were wearing nothing but Aqua socks, I'd be a happy MF.
It does make a difference.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it does.
So we're up there on the one that you have.
By the way, Tactical Hat says he wears Aqua socks. I'm
right.
sorry, I just had to weigh in on that. Tactical, you're not helping.
So we're on the ride that you have the blue thing
mat.
that you lay the mat.
I love those,
I love the
right?
mats.
With the
yeah,
two
you haul.
handles.
Yeah, you fly down that
And you
thing.
know why that's that's Disney gave you the handles. You go anywhere else, you don't get handles.
So this particular, we were out there later. I think people start showing up later after they get from get home from the parks, because right around 2, I think, is the most busiest at Blizzard Beach.
That's probably about right.
Because I think people get the group pass or whatever, and they go to the hot parks and then go to Blizzard Beach to cool off. Anyway, so it was more people than there were there, and so we were standing in a bit of a line for a while waiting for. Basically, there's a huge conveyor belt that brings up all the blue rafts, and they split it between the wavy slides and then the straight racing slides.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just divvy it out on both sides, right? So we're standing there, we're just waiting our turn, we're in line for a good half an hour.
Wow.
By far the longest.
Yeah, that's a long
That
time.
is long.
Because the other lines were no lines whatsoever, just on,
Yeah,
get
you
up
just
there.
rip.
So this was by far and then I think it was because they started having a problem, and all of a sudden we noticed the blue rafts stopped coming, right?
Oh, we had the same thing happen to us where something
the conveyor
gets
belt
backed up.
broke.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then the maintenance men come, and I see them walk up the stairs, and they go over to the conveyor belt, and they start looking around at the bottom, right? So we have a decision to make, and we're like, do we wait?
Yes, I had the same thing happen to me.
Or just bail.
We bailed.
And the fact this was the only slides that we haven't gone on. Crystal wanted to do everything, so we got there early.
Yeah,
like
it's fun
Andrew
to hit
said,
every slide, yeah.
And we did everything.
Because then you're tired.
And these are the only ones. And it was like 2:00, so it was the end of the day.
Nice.
And so
But hot.
we decided to wait, right? We're like, how long could it be? Let's wait. We're only like 5 people from the place where you get your mat.
Yeah.
So we'd already been, we were too far to give up at this point. So
yeah,
we're
you
like
hate to give up if you're third in line.
we're like, let's just wait and see what happens, right?
Sure.
So then all of a sudden another lifeguard comes up, and he is carrying like 6 mats. So he walked up the stairs and he's carrying mats, and so he dropped them off. And then they divvied them out to like some people in front of us or whatever, and then we were even closer. We're like 2 people from getting the mat.
You're there.
So we're like,
I would have asked the guy right then and there.
What?
What's up with the mats? Did the thing break down? Do I have to wait for you to come up every 10 minutes with 6
so
mats?
you would have engaged.
Yeah.
You know
I
he
didn't
ain't
know
gonna
what's going
engage.
on.
You ain't going to say nothing?
I'm not going to stand there and wait for this guy to go up and down stairs.
No, Tom isn't going to engage. You think Tom's going to ask and find out what's happening? Are you crazy? He hates confrontation.
So speaking
But
of
Crystal
confrontation.
wouldn't?
Oh, well,
No, Crystal
then-
will.
okay.
But here's where you don't understand that I'm like Tom at theme parks. I let Andrea do everything. I keep my mouth shut. I don't say a word. I don't engage.
So then we're like, all right, let's wait until, and then we're waiting, and then we're like, okay, this is taking a long time. People start walking up the ride to get on to wait. They didn't know the mat conveyor belt was broken, or maybe they did because they were bringing mats just carrying them up the stairs.
BYOM, yeah.
So, like, I guess in the bottom, like, it was, I guess, apparent that the thing was broken and there was a bunch of blue mats down there. So people just started grabbing them and walking them up the stairs.
Yeah. That's self-service. I like that.
So then,
these people are self-starters.
Yeah, but here's the problem. So now you got a bunch of people that have been waiting in line for like 40 minutes.
Don't have
Yeah,
mats.
but these guys got the mats. I'm sorry.
Okay, so then the people that walked up with the mats, they were just standing there, and there was a group of the people that had their own mats, and then all of us angry.
You got to beat them up, take their mats.
No, so then they started like, oh, well, I'm going to get on the ride with the mats, because the rides were still like flowing. The rides weren't shut down, just no one had any mats. So they started trying to walk to the front with their mats.
Civil War started. This is how the Civil War started, gray and the blue.
So
it started
first come, first serve.
It started with mats and hot people sitting in the sun. They were waiting on mats, and then people that carried their own mats to the top. This is going to be a socioeconomic argument about like minimum wage.
I hear the people, the non-matters, I'll call them, which are all of us standing waiting for the mats, start bitching about the mat people walking in front of them.
Mat people sitting here waiting for a goddamn mat handout. I went down and got my own mat.
So
I'm self-made.
So then there was like a little bit of a pushback where people were like, no, you can't go to the front, blah, blah. There was some
all mats matter.
And then they settled.
They're pulling down a statue of Mickey Mouse. Literally, you're going through a whole problem.
Not Steamboat Willie.
Oh, take him down. Too much steam and too much Willie.
They settled on, all right, we're going to pass the mats forward.
So, wait a minute. You guys brokered peace?
So they don't know.
How were you able to broker peace?
Well, the first group, I'll explain, it gets worse. So the first group was like, fine, we'll pass the mats forward. So then they started passing the mats.
This is great.
So then everybody's passing mats. So I'm standing there, I'm passing the mats forward.
Are these adults not giving the mats to children, by the way? Because I have a huge problem with that. This is a kid's theme park.
Where they're passing them to
But you understand what I'm saying,
front
right?
of the line.
Yeah, well, but give them to the kids first. If you're an adult standing in line for a mat.
I'm giving it to who's ever in
no,
first.
it wasn't kids first. It was whoever was in the front of the line, right?
I paid for my ticket.
So then they passed the majority of mats to the racing side because that's a longer line or whatever. Then they passed the last two.
I hate the racing side.
The toboggan racers, I love it.
Only if somebody's calling it. Normally they don't have the mic hooked up.
So they passed the last two, and then me and Crystal got a mat, but there's four of us because Tommy and Max are with us, right? So now...
Well, now you're the bad people because they're your kids. You should have given them the mats.
Well, they can't go down alone.
Oh, they can't?
Well, I don't believe so. No, you're supposed to have...
They can, but it's just like they wanted to all go together or whatever.
Yeah, they don't really like that, though.
So
they don't like you just turning your kid loose.
So we're standing there,
fooled.
And now all the mats have been distributed, and now there's no more mats again. They're all going down the slide.
Okay.
So then
Trickle down matonomics.
The next group of people just start walking up the stairs with the mats. Now they aren't aware of the whole broker deal of pass the mats forward.
They don't know about the peace treaty. They don't know about the mat treaty.
See, now this is on the employees of not saying
no,
something.
the employees don't give a damn about nothing.
This is the July 10th mat treaty. They don't know that it was signed.
And all the tourists and everybody there.
Our pest control guys here.
Making their own deal.
Big fat pest control guys here.
I was like, I thought I canceled it.
Goddamn Massey, get out of here.
So then the new group of people bringing the mats up the stairs.
They don't know.
They're just walking to the front again because they're like, I brought this mat upstairs. Now I understand.
You got to let them know. That's why you got to teach history.
Because I started thinking, well, if I walked my ass up all the stairs holding the mat, I'm just not going to give it to the person in front of me. I want to use my mat. I walked up the stairs with it. Like I did the work. It's my mat. I'm going to go.
I like mat.
So I understood this. So I'm just sitting there, by the way, watching this whole thing.
No universal mat care here.
So then, this real man starts walking with his mat, and then he's just ignoring all the people. Like, excuse me,
down this slide.
We're doing the pass it forward. And he's just walking straight past it. He's like going to the slide, right? And then he gets to my wife, and then she's like, excuse me.
If you're feeling.
And I'm like, oh, God. And then she's like, excuse me, we've been waiting here a long time, and we're doing is pass the mat forward. And then he literally, he was like, I saw him for one split second. I'm like, what's going to happen? Either he's going to be like, screw you, walk right past. Right. Which, by the way, I'm doing nothing. Because I've already done the equation in my head. It's like, am I going to get in a fight with some angry dad that about the math
throw you down the slide?
Or did you see his mouth start to shape the C word?
I'm not even going to interject in any of this and start arguing with a dad about a mat or whatever. Who cares?
Let him go down.
And then the guy handed over his mat. And then I'm like, No. All I got from all this is that Crystal's a Karen and the guy's the pussy.
No! It's his birthday.
You gave up your mat to the Karen who bitched about the system?
It was her birthday.
I'm just saying. It's just, if you're listening out there, you succumb to the Karen that complained about the mats.
You're just mad because you succumb to her every day and somebody else did.
I just said, why not stand up for yourself, bro?
Maybe she's just that powerful, man.
You brought the mat up just to you deserve to write it down.
That's the power of the soapy butt.
And then he handed over his mat, and then they the whole group forced him to do the mat, and then we all got our mats, and then I got the hell out of there.
Did he any time did he turn to you guys and go, "We're more alike than we are different"? Because I would have liked that.
He just handed it over.
We're all in this together.
Got shamed by the Karen. It's because other people were passively like saying under their breath, like, we had a system as they walked by, and Crystal.
I guess nobody said anything when they got to the bottom of the slide.
And then Crystal said, "I don't give a damn. I'm hot as hell. I'm
right.
going down the slime."
Good for her.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh God, what does it feel like to stand up for yourself? I would know what I felt. I bet it feels awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Telling someone how you feel, and then. Seriously,
he's never said. We've never come to.
I don't even want to do it.
Tears shooting eyes. You've never said, "What's it feel like to stand up for yourself?"
In my mind, and I don't know if this is right, but
oh my God.
I'm just like, it's not even worth whatever the awkward confrontation is going to be. I don't even give a damn. I don't even want to be. I don't want to go down the damn side. I'm not even going to have fun.
But it's like a challenge, right?
Going down
Isn't it like a challenge?
Face.
It's a challenge to say how you truly feel. It's without getting into an argument. You don't have to get into an argument, but you can say how you feel.
Yeah, but there's nothing in it for me. Like, it doesn't make me feel good.
I mean, she won. She got the match.
She did, but she got what she wanted. But
isn't that all that matters?
I guess that, but the awkwardness of her, like, excuse me.
Well, it wasn't awkward for her, I bet.
Awkward for 5 seconds, maybe. And
It probably wasn't even awkward for that guy. That's something that we feel. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that, like that guy was probably like,
oh, okay.
I don't care.
Yeah. Also, he wasn't.
I just want a bucket of ice cream.
He wasn't doing something egregious, and I even kind of felt sympathy for him. Like, you walked up with the mat. I kind of feel like.
What if he had turned to you and said,
you have the right to go down the damn slide.
He does, but what if he turned to you and said, doing nice things for people is something I just like to do.
Pay it forward.
No.
What if he was to say, like, if I was only doing nice things to people so they do nice things to me, this world would be a hell of a bad place, Tom. Here, have my mat, Karen, and happy birthday.
You know what? I say real man, but I'm getting to the age where I think everybody's the same age.
I might have been there for
I think
a minute.
this person is younger. Like, he was early 30s or late 20s. He just looked like he had a beard. That's all.
Guy with a beard.
So I think he was shamed by an elder Karen telling him.
Throwing shade at the wife again.
No, that's I was saying that. I think because
let it go.
If it was a teen,
you could have gone to break.
I think if it was a teen, he would have just pressed forward. But
he's like my daughter. He can't stop without getting one more dig on Soapy Butt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bye-bye. Welcome to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. Hey, everybody. Check out our YouTube page. Just search for Tom and Dan Live on the YouTubes. Every stream that we do on Twitch, I take that stream, edit it, color correct it, and then we replay it on YouTube, and you can like and subscribe our videos. We have basically one pop up about every working weekday. So Monday through Friday, you will get a brand new Tom and Dan daily video.
Also, if you want to listen to our show live and all the shows that we record, basically, except for the BDM show, which we do on the BDM Facebook only, we do it all on Twitch. And if you get the Twitch app and subscribe to Tom and Dan Live, it'll give you a notification every time we go live, and you can listen to audio only. And we do a good, 3 hours a day?
At least.
Starting around 10:30, 11, basically Monday through Friday.
Yep, it's fun. So like and subscribe that, and we think you will really enjoy it. Our good friend EJ's here for Nerd Jock. Let's jump into that now.
Nerds. Jack. Nerds. Jack. Nerds.
Jock, nerd, jock, nerd.
It's Nerd Jock with EJ. How you doing, EJ?
Good. I have a fence now, which is fantastic.
I saw that. Now, is it that good?
Yes.
Okay.
It is fantastic. I can let my dog out without having to put him on a leash.
You don't have kids.
That's
going up
no
to your
kids
screen.
looking out the screen. Yeah.
Now, were you ever sitting in your pool and looking at the kids look at you? And
that's what I do.
Looking at you, looking at me.
Yeah. That's the only reason I want a pool is so I can float in it and look at kids.
And did you say to yourself,
Jesus, who would say that?
I'll pay $7,000 for this not to happen.
Yes.
No, really? Is that
Definitely
bad?
worth
Okay.
the investment for that. Yeah.
So did you negotiate any payola deal with the fence company?
No, I couldn't get any payola. My wife did most of the negotiating, so that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Because she's better with money than I am.
Okay.
Sure.
It's a different time. My
We got the Karen on the water slide. We got the negotiating. People.
You are becoming
a man-child.
You're becoming a version. You're becoming a humanoid crossed between Captain Kangaroo and the Australian murderer Chopper. Have you seen the documentary Chopper? About the Australian hitman, the murderer?
Yeah.
You look exactly like Captain Kangaroo Chopper.
Oh, great.
You look like Chopper ate a Whopper.
I'm definitely getting a Whopper after this.
Chopper ate a Whopper. Crack myself up with that one.
It's fine. It's allowed. That is classic.
All right, what do we got for
What should we start with? Well, let's start with nerds.
You see why she was
Let's start with nerd stuff. On Saturday and Sunday is Go Fest. So you can go to that. It's all
the
around
one
the world.
you flew to last time?
You can't. The past 2 years, it's been like local. You can't. You can only do it in game because usually we go to Chicago and play the game. But right now, it's just because of COVID restrictions and stuff like that.
We're still under restrictions, huh?
Toronto. I like some of the guys that play the game in Toronto can't even leave the state or the country to get to.
Oh my God, you wouldn't want to leave the beautiful state of Toronto.
So they have these restrictions in Florida, or
no, just in different like.
Yeah,
Canada still has restrictions.
I was about to say, like, what?
Like they're still getting their shots.
Restrictions?
Like the guys in Ontario, Toronto.
Shots!
He was just getting his second shot. I heard.
Like screaming everything that has to do with
You are
vaccine.
You're slaying me today.
So, although it's an outside thing where you just wander around parks.
Going around and catching virtual pets.
That seems pretty safe.
Have they added anything to it to make it like
they have remote passes that you can do. Like they can play. Like I did just a raid this morning in Holland. Someone sent me an invite to raid a Defense Deoxys in Holland.
Of what?
A defense form.
It sounds like I killed a defenseless ox in Holland. I don't know. It sounds terrible. Don't do that. What is it repetitive at all?
A little bit, yeah. It's gotten slow a little bit for that reason,
right.
But I still enjoy it. It gets me to go outside. Yeah. I would be a really big chungus if that was the case. If I did
you'd be White Sheet City.
Yeah, ponchos and
man, we'd be
bed sheets.
Yeah, they'd be cutting you out of the wall. You know what sucks?
How big did you get?
You know what really sucks is buying a fence and then having to tear it down to get pulled out of your house. You're like, you go to all the trouble to get this fence to hide you from the kids, and little did you know the fire department has to drive their truck over it to pull your rotting body out of there.
Yeah, because that's where our sliding glass door goes through there. Yeah, for sure.
They'd pull you right through there.
And
the kids are crying, and then the sheet pulls up a little bit, or you see your butt ass.
A bunch of stretch marks.
You know what's funny about it is it's that bigger people have a ginormous ass, but it's still flat as a wall. How does that work? There's no roundness to it. There's no
roundness.
That's
is
from working
muscle,
out. Yes,
right.
Because they got to move a little bit of that.
Yeah,
I like gravity will pull the fat down.
Yes,
and it'll just be like a drippy ass.
Drippy ass. I'd like a big, if my wife could get her ass bigger, I would say yes, because
wider. You mean
wider because she has boom.
Yeah.
Boom, and that's what I like.
Genetics,
Mario Golf will help out.
Yes, that Mario Golf will help out.
Next story.
Okay, the next one definitely. Well, speaking of Mario,
has anybody noticed that he goes into full Rain Man? He's like,
yes, definitely, yes, definitely stories. Yeah, definitely Kmart.
Okay, So speaking of Mario, Mario 64 just sold at auction an unopened cartridge of it that was still inside like the Toys R Us, like the locked box that they had. They found it in a Toys R Us, and it sold for $1.56 million
I can see that.
at auction.
It's history. I can
thought
see
all the
that.
Toys R Us's were closed.
They were, but this is where they found it. It was still in the lockbox from Toys R Us. It was behind the shelves. It fell down there, and that's the reason why they found it. And then
Like
they
the little
auctioned it off.
see-through box with the gray in that you have
Right.
to stick the key in.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a
When they
find.
closed the Toys R Us out and they were cleaning all the shelves out, that's where they found the Mario 64.
That could have fallen back there for the
inside
90s.
Yeah, they wrote it off at inventory saying, "Oh, we lost it," or it got stolen, or whatever.
Was it because it was in the
Because it's unopened
Toys R Us box, though, too? Because I'm sure there's unopened versions of that video game for sale on the internet.
Okay, so this guy's saying, Ghost of Manute Bull, and I love these. He says, EJ, you fat dink. It wasn't in a locked box. The picture you saw was the case they put collectibles into, quote, grade them.
Okay.
Like the CGC cases for comics. And then everybody's laughing at you.
That's fine.
Is that true?
But that was the story I read.
Yeah.
That it was originally in one of those boxes. I'm sorry that it was when
It's
they saw
still
the
a good
picture, it was still
find.
there in a box. So they do it to grade it. Who cares?
They found this with I want to say with an Atari game a while ago.
Well, they did it for Legend of Zelda. Was the other one that just beat the record for Legend of Zelda for highest paid video game in an auction. It was like $750,000.
There was
for the
one
NES.
mountain of games that I guess like somebody found, and then they like were digging in there, because remember the worst game of all time supposedly was what E.T.
Yep.
And then I think they took all the remaining copies of this horrible game
just
and they
dumped it in
buried
it.
them in the desert.
Yeah.
So, is this a case? And I've always wondered with the item that goes for an astronomical amount of money at an auction, because it seems like it shouldn't be worth that much. And I understand how prices work; things are worth as much as someone's willing to pay for them. But is it because they do? Are you online auction or like a raise your hand in person
I have no
auction?
clue how they auctioned it. Yeah.
Because I often wonder, like, all right, you bring like a bunch of video game enthusiasts if you're selling a bunch of rare video games and things like tech stuff that's worth a bunch of money, and you put them all in the same room, and then they're bidding against each other. And there's a psychology of auctions. That's why they usually do it auction styles, because it literally starts a bidding war, and they drive the price up to the maximum amount. And then when they sell for like a 1 point whatever million,
5, 6, yeah.
I think to myself, I'm like, well, is that what it's worth? Or is it just like 4 or 5 rich guys trying to outbid each other? Like,
That happens, it might be that, or during like Golden Palace, they're just buying it just for the prestige of having it. Or
Have
it's
you
like
ever-
Logan
because,
Paul with
like-
a Charizard card.
Have you ever bought anything that you're spending too much money on it, but you don't care because you really want it, or because
there's that Orlando City ball that we found.
that was just
still mad about
I
that.
felt like you thought you were
Right,
trying to do
even-
something good, but I'm trying to think of something.
Even though that went to charity, I still way too much.
I know. And you almost put it in a mystery box. I yelled like you.
What was that
I
sitting
was
there
like,
in a
no
drawer?
one's putting
No one's even looking.
$1,000 basket or a soccer ball.
But we're not even getting any joy out of it. It's
I
not
agree
even
with Tom.
displayed.
I'm
It's just sitting in a drawer.
Then I'll fill it up with AR right now, and I will frame it over the weekend.
Yeah, just
Okay.
put at
Put it in
least
a box at least.
put
Yeah,
it
like
in-
a clear glass case.
What if I made a video wearing a ski mask? I stab it with a
That's fine.
rainbow
That's fine. At least it's
At least
something.
you're
Put it on
making money
TikTok.
off it. Yeah,
It's
TikTok, yeah.
something. Because going back to that, like if you took all the people in the auction room and you just put it up in the internet for sale, I just feel like it would go for like
Less.
$1,500. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, wow, that's a big discrepancy between 1.3 million.
Well, it's also the rarity of it not being open. Because think about it, you'd have to fight the urge not to open it. Because Nintendo 64 was like huge when
Yeah, but
we
there's
were
no
young.
need to open it because there's so many emulators and different games now. I mean, you might as well frame it. Put it in
Samantha.
some sort of humidified box.
Look
Yeah.
up unopened. What's the game?
Mario 64.
Mario 64. I bet you it's on eBay somewhere.
Oh yeah, like just a regular cartridge of it, you could probably get for like $15.
Everything is very like to go along with what you're saying. Everybody puts whatever projected price they think they can get for it. For instance,
Yeah.
I was telling my daughter last night that one of the first toys I can remember was a push puppet Do you remember push puppets where it's like a dog or a man with strings in his arms and legs, and when you push the bottom of it, he collapses.
Oh yeah.
But when you let go of it, and he'll straighten back up, and it's got like a spring and elastic in there. And I had one that was Pluto from, Disney World. I go, I remember this toy. It had a blue bottom and a yellow Pluto on the top. Andrea's like, you can probably find one. So I Google it. The first one I find is on eBay for $90. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of money for a... Then I Google a little bit more. Find them all over eBay. $10, $5, $13,
they're all
$12.
over the place.
Yeah, they're all over the place. It's just this one... The guy took the time to have it graded. It's in the protective box. Yeah. It's ready. But of course, he's saying it's worth $80. It's worth what somebody will pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Next story.
Okay, next story. We got to talk about this movie that I found. Have you heard? Elizabeth Bank is directing a new movie called Cocaine Bear. Have you heard the story about this yet?
Yes.
Koga the cat?
Cocaine Bear?
Cocaine Bear.
It's a true story.
It's a true story.
Okay.
It's about...
I never heard of this.
This guy was smuggling cocaine in like Kentucky, and they were dropping it out of airplanes, and it ends up in the woods, and a bear finds it before the drug dealers find it, and the bear ODs on freaking cocaine.
Had a heart attack, yeah.
Yeah.
The bear ate...
But in the movie, they're
the bear
supposedly
was
fighting
also
the bear
a
to get the
morning
cocaine
radio
from it.
DJ. The bear also divorced
Speaking
his
of
wife.
which, I need money for drugs, not offense.
Did the bear go crazy at all before he OD'd, or he just...
Crazy on fun.
He just took a bunch of chomps of cocaine and then died?
Probably,
Okay, yeah. So it's not really... When you say cocaine...
It's based on a true story, but it's called The Cocaine Bear.
Well,
Ray Liotta is in it and Carrie Russell's in it.
How are they directing it? Like, how are they telling the story?
This is Sharknado.
Is the bear going to go to, like, a cabin... And then, like, they're going to have dialogue, and he's like, what's it? Like, how?
No, he's going to be a coked out bear coming. It's going to be like The Great Outdoors, where the bear comes into the cabin, and they shoot in the butt, and it shows a human butt.
Is this
on
like
the bear.
a comedy, or is this a horror movie?
It's Elizabeth Banks, so it could be comedy, but it also could be like real. It's a
there
thriller.
has to be some comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Cocaine Bear.
It's Sharknado.
It's snakes on a plane, for sure.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they named it Cocaine Bear, because that's the only reason why I'm talking about it. If it was just, there's a bear in the woods, you're not going to talk about it.
Although it's you didn't really need to say it's based off a true story, like it's because the true story is the cocaine bale fell and then the bear ate it.
40 bags of cocaine he ate,
and he immediately died of heart
Each
attack.
was like a kilo, probably, right?
Yeah. How long was he? Did he go crazy?
When they opened up the bear's stomach, it was, quote, literally packed to the brim with cocaine. Though he estimated the bear had absorbed only 3 to 4 grams of the substance into the bloodstream at the time of its death.
Yeah, so my point is there's not really a story here. How are you going to do a whole movie on this? The premise is Cocaine Bear.
Yeah. Even the guy that was smuggling the drugs, I mean, he used to be a paratrooper, a cop, and a lawyer before he started smuggling drugs. So I'm sure it's going to lean heavy on his story.
Ray Liotta's the guy.
Oh, and then I think they make like the bear got high off cocaine is going kill crazy.
Going
crazy. I'm sure they will.
They
got to get the cocaine.
Even though that did not happen.
Yeah, they got to get the cocaine because they got to pay off the suppliers or they're going to get killed, like Scarface and stuff like that. So I can see them doing that.
All right, I don't want to shoot it down.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry,
since we're talking about the box office, did you see that Black Widow made tons of money this weekend?
It did, but I saw a lot of people kind of poo-pooing.
It's a good movie, but it's a lower tier Marvel movie in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, I love Marvel movies, but if you're going to rank it among the Marvel movies, it's lower tier for sure.
It's on Disney Plus,
It's on Disney Plus for $30.
$30.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's worth the $30 instead of going to the movie theater. Because think about it. It's me, my wife, and my son would go to the movie theater. It'd be a good $60 to $80 if we went with popcorn and drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
So it's worth the $30, and you can watch it till forever now.
Yeah, but it still made money at the box office.
Oh, they include that with the box office because it made like $218 million over the weekend, including box office, Disney Plus, and
they're including Disney Plus.
That.
Well,
yeah,
that's a little deceptive in the fact that you're like, it made this much money at the box office. That makes me think that it's only movie theaters. Like,
you're counting the streaming revenue too.
If you call streaming, then I'm like, well, back to my original theory: are the movie theaters going to survive?
I don't know. But is Disney only releasing like female-led character movies to Disney Plus? Like Mulan has been it, Cruella, and then Black Widow. Are they only releasing like women lead?
I don't think
movies?
so.
It seems like that's what they're doing.
What are you complaining?
I'm just saying. Like, why is Disney not?
I'm with DJ.
Are they only releasing female?
Because Soul came out streaming.
Yeah.
Luca came out streaming. Those are both Boys.
Yeah.
There's a new one I haven't
saying
seen
live
it, but
action.
it's very
Live
crazy.
action?
Yeah.
It's very crazy costuming, and all the kids kind of looks like a Wes Anderson looking vibe. It's and it's like kid detectives. They're all dressed like little dapper British kids. Have you seen that?
Oh, I think it's on Netflix. I know.
Oh,
I
maybe
think
it's
I know
Netflix.
what you're talking
But I
about.
see that.
Yeah.
I was like, that looks real quirky and weird. I'll check that out.
EJ,
Yes, sir.
Since we're in nerd topics,
right.
I got a question for you. What the hell is the Disney Plus Legends? Because
you're talking about for Marvel stuff, right?
Yes.
Disney Plus Legends is like a recap of that character. So they're doing like Black Widow. They'll tell a recap of her whole story in like 7 minutes.
And
same thing with Vision. Same thing with I think Bucky.
They're all of them. Yeah. So it's
Bucky.
just so that
the Winter
people
Soldier.
can understand who these
Yeah,
characters
it's
are.
basically a recap so you can understand what's going on
It's
in the
for
movies.
you.
Yeah, it's basically for you, definitely.
Well, I thought it was a shorter series of Marvel show, and it looked like it was.
So you put it on. You went to the bathroom.
What
and you
else?
had to
It
go
would
run
be
it out
like
with
if
your
I
pants.
wrote an essay for you to know who the character was.
It's just edited together like a trailer.
Yeah.
So like my sons weren't. They couldn't. They were like, "What? Why are we watching propaganda?" Like,
yeah.
Well, it is basically that, yeah.
And it's just a long trailer. It's like there's.
And they call it propaganda too, right? Which is
yeah,
which is odd. They learned that from the nanny,
Well,
and I feel
yeah.
like it's so odd. When they say that, I feel like I should be working in a Russian coal mine or something.
That's her long con. I think she left us with that one, which I like because it is all
My
propaganda.
parents are just feeding me their propaganda. What were they dropping leaflets from the sky again?
Yeah. Next story.
Okay, the next story for Nerd is Marvel What If is going to be the next show that comes on after Loki, which is Loki's final episode is tomorrow morning, which I'll watch probably at 3 a.m.
Can
just
I
to make
watch
sure there's no
Loki
spoilers.
without knowing anything else about this whole universe?
Not really.
All right, well,
He's
Like,
the guy that
have you
kind of.
watched-
He's got the slick back hair. Kind of
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston is fantastic in it, though.
He looks like.
No,
and,
but that's why I kind of wanted to watch it. But if I'm
Yeah.
not going to get anything, then there's no point.
Well, I think you could still watch it, and watch one of the Legends before it, and it's 7 minutes.
here's
It's
the
7
thing.
minutes for 6 episodes. I think you could handle it.
Marvel to me, I'm standing on the beach and I'm looking out, and Marvel to me is the ship way out there.
On the horizon.
Well, there's
yeah.
like
And
36 movies
and there's
that
no
are all
way-
interconnected.
I'll just wait until it fizzles out. Because it looks like it is. Because y'all are all interfighting.
I don't think
and
so,
you
'cause
think
the
this
next
movie sucks and that movie sucks and this is a lower tier movie. I'll just wait till you nerds tear each other's limbs
Loki's,
off.
but Loki is probably the best TV show that they have on Disney+.
Yeah, but you guys had to say that because everybody split on WandaVision.
Well, the next one is What If. Did you ever read the What If comic books in Marvel?
No.
Which I loved because it was always the what would happen if like Spider-Man kept the black costume, or
Right.
what if Wolverine never lost his adamantium when he fought Magneto or something
Right.
like that. That's what the next series is about. Like, there's going to do.
Tom hates what ifs.
Yeah,
It's like it's
what
not
if
what
T'Challa
actually happened.
was
And now you're
Star-Lord?
doing what ifs for things that actually didn't happen ever. Now it's like, what if this another baby story?
Like, they're going to do Peggy Carter, who's going to be British Captain America, which is weird. And then T'Challa, who was the Black Panther, instead of him becoming Black Panther, he was abducted by Yondu, and he becomes Star-Lord. That's one. And then they do Marvel Zombies. I know. It's all over the place.
British Captain America or Captain Britain or whatever.
See, I don't know because there is a character called Captain Britain. And it was usually Brian Braddock, but I don't. And there was multiple Captain Britons.
I think he's called Constable Biscuits.
And plus, it's a female.
It's
so that's
Constable
usually the
Biscuits,
case
right?
too,
It's
yeah.
not Captain America.
But they're going to do a bunch of episodes like that, and it's going to be hosted by Uatu the Watcher.
I don't know who any of these people are. Watching the Watcher, the boo, the boo, like whatever happened. And just give me. How about you give me George Clooney? He introduces Brad Pitt and Jen Anderson, and they they just do the thing. There's a couple of spaceships. Call it a night.
Batman, Robin, Penguin.
What is this? A Woody Woody and Tootie Too? And what if this? What if Constable Biscuits was? No, I don't want any of that.
You don't
Just
want
give me
Kang
the
the Conqueror
Batman
or Dr. Doom.
Just give me
or
Batman versus a robber. He hangs him over the building, and the guy poops his pants. And that's call it a day.
What if Constable Biscuits was born in Russia? Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Constable Gruel.
Yeah.
Anyway.
See, that's one of the things that happened in Black Widow. We're trying to figure out if Red Guardian fought Captain America is Steve Rogers, or do you fight?
Here's an idea. How about you figure out how to get a fence faster for your family instead of figuring out?
I was hoping Tom would
act
pay
like
it
some
for me, but
adult. You guys
that
sit
didn't
around
happen.
and you debate this baby ass.
Figure out how to pay the cable bill.
Yeah, how did you figure that out?
Next story.
Should we go over to Jock stuff now?
All right.
All right. What should we talk about? Let's talk about.
That's not what you're supposed to say.
You should know what we're talking about.
we're talking about.
I'm trying to like connect it and do segues, but
what am
that
I
doesn't
gonna
work.
do here?
Let's just
I
talk
don't know,
about
some
Conor
guys played
McGregor
some-
breaking his ankle. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
bad.
I watched it
That was
live.
rough.
I watched it live with my wife. We stayed up and we bought the fight on the big TV, and that grossed me out.
What was worse, that or the lady with the third eye? You see the cut over her head?
The cut didn't bother me.
That
as
bothered
much.
me a little bit because I've seen
It was
stuff
gross,
like
but
that.
it wasn't as bad as
I've
the-
had cuts on my legs and stuff that open up and you can
Yeah.
see the layer of fat. So that didn't get me that much. But like the breaking of the ankle, that never sits well with me.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I don't like when someone steps on their foot and it just folds underneath them, and
Yeah.
they do
It makes
that-
me hate feet.
They do that move, or the Dak Prescott or whoever gets
Oh,
injured,
yeah.
where
and
they
it's facing like a 90-degree
where
angle.
they hold their knee
unnatural.
up, and then their leg is
what?
flopping
Yeah.
down. I can't look at it. I'm like, no,
And then,
no.
of course,
Don't
you
show
scroll
it to
through
me.
Facebook,
Yeah.
and it's every couple
Every
things.
meme, yeah.
Ugh.
So, from what I learned on TikTok, because I apparently
Yes, that's where he
Yes,
gets all
yes.
his
It
news
becomes
He's
like a
into
final,
the thick of it, guys.
Fast and Furious meme.
That's where he gets his news is from TikTok.
it's all. And by the way, TikTok.
I asked him what's happening today. He goes, yeet. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I don't even know what that means.
the
Did he
new,
start dabbing?
Like TikTok, and I guess a younger generation does not care that someone died or they have a family
No.
or whatever.
They do not
Dude,
care.
we've desensitized our kids so much.
Yeah, they just show it over and over, but then we'll put like a rest in peace Johnny, like that. I felt bad for that guy that tried to break the record with the long distance jump on the
yeah.
motorcycle.
The motorcycle guy, yeah.
It was all over TikTok, and then
Oh,
it
I
was.
didn't see that.
They just kept showing the person because there was only one video. It was from far away, but
Yeah.
it's like the person
Of how he
you
died,
see
yeah.
him landing, and then you're like, oh man, like you're watching someone die,
Right.
and then just all over TikTok, and then they put filters on it. I'm just like, God damn, like stop, stop showing it.
Throw Nashville on
Make
it.
sure
Or
you
no,
like,
no,
subscribe.
Go back to X Pro. No.
It's like what? And then
Go to Vivid.
They do it with Conor McGregor, and they start analyzing when he broke his ankle.
Oh, yeah.
And then they start like, look at his ankle, it's broke already. And then this is where he steps on it.
Yeah.
Then they show the glitter
And
filters.
then Joe Rogan comes up to him and says, have you tried DMT?
Yeah, I stopped. I stopped watching. I was just like, I can't
So
watch that.
apparently, like he broke it, and then it didn't really. It wasn't 100%, and then
Yeah.
he stepped on it, and then flopped.
He put the
over.
weight on it, and then it.
Yeah, yeah.
oof.
And
Then he's yelled at him after the fight. This is not over. I'm like, dude, don't fight somebody after you broke your leg fighting him.
well, he is.
No,
He's
I
playing
think-
the heel.
No, I think
Yeah.
I think he means it another time, and if it happens, great, and if it doesn't happen, like Sam said, when we were both
yeah, he's
getting
making the money, no
toasty drunk,
matter
he
what
didn't care.
happens.
Honestly,
he did not care.
Best way to lose, if you think about it,
Yep.
because he could still claim, like, if my
Ultimate
ankle
out.
didn't break,
Yeah.
and it's not like
Wait,
he
can
cares.
you do it in an Irish accent just for me?
No, I
Yeah.
Oh, please.
won't. But he can claim that if it wasn't for this, he would have won. And then people are like, "Yeah, I think you could be right." Or it's like, if you got knocked out, then you look like,
Then
"Oh,
you
well,
look really
you
bad,
fool."
yeah.
You can't talk S when you get knocked out.
And it gives them, if they decide when they're old, fat MMA guys that they want to put it down one more again for me to buy it, I'll be there, and they'll be there, and we'll do it.
Conor
It was
McGregor-
fun. I had a great time watching. I thought the card.
It was great.
From top to now, not the ending. I know people didn't want to see it, but I say it's still the best. One of the best endings because you still get the energy. But yeah, the card was great. And I'm not even an MMA guy, but we really enjoyed it. It was fun.
It seems like the UFC is morphing into what inevitably it will be, which is not necessarily finding out who the best mixed martial artist is, but we're just watching the most
who's gonna
popular one fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter what their record is. And
Yeah, we just want to see you guys beat the crap out of each other. Yeah.
people want to see Conor McGregor fight, whether they are for him or against him, and that's it. They don't care what his record is. Whatever happens, if he's the best, by far he's not the best MMA fighter in the world now. It's just far below it. And it's like, that's what they want to see. He's doing the Mayweather, right?
Yeah, just getting the entertainment value.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
bestly pro wrestling.
All right. We are out of time.
Oh, damn it. I can't talk about the home run derby and how the one guy won and he made more money.
You can do it super fast.
I can do it real fast. 2 minutes. The one guy that won it, his name is Pete Alonso, and he's won it 2 years in a row, and he's made more money winning the home run derby than he has in his salary for his team, for the Mets.
Wow.
He made $2 million for the 2 home run derbies, $1 million each.
Okay,
and then he made $167 million.
I like
just
this.
His contract.
This is old school. This harkens back to a time when the slam dunk competition, you would get guys that weren't necessarily the best players,
Right.
Yeah.
but they had
a
ups.
skill.
Yeah, they could jump.
They could jump. So you'd get these guys, you'd be like, who the hell is that guy? Gang! And then he'd drop a crazy dunk, and you'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
And then those guys would get a little more fame based on.
He's
I
like the
that.
Mets first baseman. Yeah,
Good on
because he
him.
beat the guy. What's his name? Shohei Ohtani. Have you seen him? Plays for the Angels. He's their pitcher, and he won.
yeah.
He made it to the All-Star game, and he's the pitcher, and he's the designated hitter, which has never
Well,
happened.
that's a
Usually,
lot of
you never
finesse,
do that.
right?
Yeah,
That's a lot
He's
of
like
eyeballs.
Babe Ruth. He's Babe Ruth reincarnate in an Asian guy.
Yeah, you normally
And
don't
Stephen
get.
A. Smith is getting in trouble because he says he needs an interpreter. Have you heard that story?
What is he?
It's too deep to go in right
so
now.
was he
I guess
making
it's
a sort of a comment to
saying
a person?
he should be the face of baseball if he needs an interpreter?
Wow.
Which is kind of racist.
That's a nice
yeah.
way of saying speak American.
Yeah.
He's
All
playing
right.
baseball. He's not a speaker for a living.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah,
like,
well,
why does he need to talk to the media?
Shut
So,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to talk to you.
The home run derby, do they have a regular pitcher just throwing
No,
straight
it's
down the
usually
middle?
your like pitching coach or something like that to throw you pitches. So it's like they're throwing it right over the middle.
Yeah, you're
every
getting nice
single
balls.
time. Yeah.
So, but you're
That guy's important, really important, because if he's going accurate every single time, you can hit home runs all day.
so how much is it him compared to him with the pitching coach? The combination.
I would
is
say
what?
it's 90-10. I would say 90% the batter, but 10% that guy throwing you pitches. Because if he's bad, you're not going to hit those home runs.
Because he's obviously not the best hitter in baseball because he'd
No,
be better
yeah.
in baseball,
Well, 'cause
right?
think about it. People throw off-speed pitches to you, curveballs,
Yeah.
sliders,
Well,
four-seam
just
fastballs.
like the
He's the
long
best
drive.
at hitting home run, easy layups, basically.
Well, just like the long
Kinda,
drive
yeah.
champions, there's a guy in Holy Moly that was like third in the world, but he was just a stoner, and he just happens to know how to hit a long
Yeah.
drive.
Oh, yeah.
He just had to
There's
go
a lot
more.
of those guys that
Well-
are like, well, I'm really good at long driving, but I'm not, I'm a good golfer, but
There's guys that are the best at three-pointers that couldn't hit a three-pointer if someone's in their face for the life of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you're the best at hitting or like making a three-point shot with nobody
no
around
pressure.
you,
You're
no
basketball,
pressure.
for sure.
And then it's just like the repetitive, you're just good, better than everybody else. And that's the home run hitter. Is
Yep.
that All right.
we got to get out of here.
Yeah, come to my wife's MyCon in August 28th at the Wyndham Resort.
There you go.
There we go. I got my shot.
Nice.
All right, EJ, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. I appreciate that, guys.
We'll be right back with more Corporate Time. Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. Samantha's here. Butler's here. And we have a very special guest joining us live via the Zoom.
Yep, Harry Graham is on the Zoom with us from Buster's Bistro. How you doing, Harry?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good, man. Good.
So, Harry, how is it that you went this entire year and a half without ever using Zoom one time? Because that's impressive. I almost did it, but I was finally forced to do it like 6 months into the pandemic where like
I don't count this, right?
Well, you do that.
So I
Tom
don't.
doesn't,
But I
yeah.
don't count this. I've used Zoom personally, like for what Harry's doing, one time.
Oh, really?
One time. I've also only worn a mask one time. I'm kidding. I'm joking. That's not true. That's not true.
Well,
That's not true.
I was finally forced to do it with client business meetings because they refused to do regular phone calls.
Well, you had
and they
Corona.
They're like, we have to look at each other now. The old way is done. And I'm like, why? Why do we have to look at each other?
Life.
I promise you, I can get the same amount of business done just with words. You never have to see me. Seriously, there's no advantage of looking at each other. I'm sorry. I can't, like, if it's a regular business call, I do not. We didn't get more done. We didn't get more accomplished. We didn't get more information.
And if you
there was nothing.
And if you had to start kind of like a rough start, like we did with Harry earlier, that it slows things down.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're me, I think I single-handedly ruined Tuttle's. I was supposed to zoom in for his show. That's when I did it, and I ruined his show because I couldn't get the audio to work. Much like Harry.
I have been in meetings before where everybody was trying to get their Zoom working or their Microsoft Teams or all the other BS, and then finally like nobody could get it together, and they're like, "Well, that's it, it's done."
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "We could talk on the phone," and they're like, "No, done."
We're not a team anymore.
And then that was it. We never had the meeting. Never. And I was like, well, "This is not the answer."
I think you're scaring Harry.
Sorry. Anyway, how you doing, Harry?
I'm doing great. Hang on one second. Hold that thought. Hey, Buster, would you mind grabbing me a beer, please?
Yes, I like that.
So yeah, tell us what's going on at Buster's Bistro.
Well, we got a lot of good stuff going on. You know, the answer why I haven't used Zoom, we basically renovated the entire bar throughout the pandemic, and we've been going strong ever since things kind of got back to somewhat normal.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I'm very much looking forward to hosting Belgian Independence Day again coming up next week. We got 2 events actually.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, because you and I had one of the best and most deliciously drunken breakfasts ever at Buster's before. This is like, it's hard for me to remember because it was pre-pandemic, but it was the last big event that we did in like that. It was like
it was a pre-Sofa and Suds like 4 years ago that we went into Buster's and we ate and drank beers,
and then we didn't want to do what we were hired to do at the event. We just wanted to kind of sleep and relax. But anyway, tell us about these events you guys got coming up.
So we got 2 of them. We got the first one on Wednesday, which is actually Belgian Independence Day, July 21st, and that is going to be the St. Bernardus beer pairing dinner. It's going to be 5 courses with an intermezzo and an amuse-bouche. That one is pretty close to being sold out, if not sold out already. I got to check the ticket sales again. But the other big one is going to be our VIP party on the patio. We're kind of setting up like a little mini beer fest on the patio because, you know, street closures and stuff are still a little odd here around. So we decided to kind of do our own little party. It's all you can drink, all you can eat. We're doing a what we call a North Sea boil, which is kind of a celebration of European style seafood. So it's going to be mussels, shrimp, sausages, potatoes, onions, celery, you know, the whole gambit, and just kind of loading this whole thing up like a good old fashioned low country boil, but we're throwing our own little European spin on it.
I love it, man. That's really cool.
So Belgium's Independence Day is I imagine that beer is wrapped up into everything.
It would have to be.
But is there any other, like, you know, here in the United States, we love our fireworks, which I was laughing about, where it's like, what's our tradition? We buy as much explosives we can from China.
And then we shoot them into our skies.
We literally burn our money.
And we set the fires ablaze.
That's what we do. Is there any other
Somebody's
tradition?
calling your cell phone.
Not anymore.
Oh, my God. I hope it wasn't your mom or something. My God.
Help! My God. The Sanford Bandits got me.
So, are there
to answer your question, Belgian Independence Day is basically just all about eating and drinking. That's one of my favorite things about it. It is literally like a holiday without any of the fuss. It's just let's get straight down to the celebration, and we like to think that we do a pretty great job of bringing all of that out in everybody and kind of, you know, instilling some of these traditions across the crowds.
I feel like any beer that comes out of Belgium has to, like, there's more pressure on it to be the best, right? Whatever. Like,
well, it's the OG craft, right? Like it was craft before there was even the term.
Yeah.
I mean, in a lot of ways, Belgium was breaking beer making rules for a long time. You know, the Germans came up with the Reinheitsgebot, and that was a whole nother category of beers. And Belgium has kind of just ignored that throughout history. You know, they put beet sugars in their beers. They put spices in them. The origins and the histories behind a lot of their styles are rich with stories. And the breweries there have been doing the same thing for, 500-600 years.
Right.
So you're talking about some of the earliest high alcohol beverages on the planet, with the exception of maybe wine.
Yeah, it's funny now that in craft beer terms, a lot of it's probably changing, but you see a lot of beers that have like flashy cans and the big colors, and I know that there's even a little bit of heat and some a little bit of trouble in a lot of breweries that make beers and then they steal intellectual property from different places because it's trendy, right? But Belgian beers, I remember getting beers like when Justin Clark from Cigar City was getting me into Belgian beers.
Yeah.
Like where you would look at the label and it looked as if you were reading like a tome or some sort of old manuscript. It was like, you wouldn't even know what the hell it is. It was like gold leafing and very intricate. And that's the OG, amazing Belgian beers.
No, let the beer speak for itself. Some of my favorite beers, I always look for just like a random beige label with a name I can't pronounce on it.
Yeah.
That's like a guaranteed winner.
Yeah, that'll be the one for sure.
And
one of our favorites. I think I brought a bottle into you guys actually. It was Rockford 10. That bottle. It's literally just letting the reputation speak for the beer. And there's something I love about that simplicity. Although I will say that there is actually a such thing as a Belgian craft brewery now. And some of these guys like Bucks, BUX out of Brussels, they're doing some really new age stuff, and they're actually using hops and making IPAs and imperial stouts and all these kind of wild stuff. We have a few of them on tap at the moment. We got a few of them that are going to be represented on Belgian Independence Day on the patio and inside.
Is this more of like a newer generation of Belgian brewer that's kind of taking the amount of lineage that's there, but then also putting like sort of a new spin on it?
Absolutely. It's they've been riding on tradition for a long time. And when I say a long time, like 600 years, multiple centuries.
right.
And they're doing incredible things with it. Obviously. However, it's one of those things like, how do we know it won't be better unless we try? Right. Some of these guys are cutting their teeth on it, and they're getting a lot of flack from the traditional community over there in a lot of ways. But in some ways, they're also very encouraged because it's something that hasn't been seen before, and it's doing really well.
It reminds me very much of like acid in the cigar world, where you had the older cigar makers that are very tried and true, and then you have a company like Acid that comes in and produces something that's a little younger, a little newer, but still, trying to do something completely different. Of course, there's some heat on it, but at the same time, a lot of people go like, this is fun. This is what we need to be doing to grow and to get better. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Just because it's new doesn't mean it can't be great.
Correct.
Harry, what's your opinion on beer temperature? Because I know that traditionally there are certain beers that are not supposed to be served cold, or like, they're
be cool
room temperature. Like what I know there's even certain beers that like people will get mad if you serve them cold because they're not supposed to be.
Or the big one I get is frosted mug.
Yeah, that's a very dilly.
Should not,
Hooters thing to do.
If you were to give us a simple crash course to people listening, what would you say to that?
I will tell you this. First of all, it's your beer. Drink it how you like. However, one thing I will say is that there's certain beers that we serve that open up at warmer temperatures. When they get around that 55-degree mark, which is what most consider cellar temperature, you get a little bit more flavor out of them. They open up. You're kind of like letting a red wine breathe almost.
Sure.
You let the beer warm up the temperature so your palate can absorb more of those flavors. However, there's also some styles, and even Belgian beers, that are just better drank cold. Some of the lagers, they're refreshing. They're designed to be refreshing. There's nothing shameful about drinking them at a cool temperature.
Does it change a beer's flavor if you freeze it and then it goes and thaw it again?
Yes. Not so much the flavor, but you're more than likely going to lose all of the carbonation. You're more than likely going to evacuate all of the CO2 out of that beer. And unless you've got some really incredible freezing method, but I don't
Nothing
think
Tom does is incredible. So you have to worry about that.
I just
You're
wondered,
freezing your beers again, aren't you?
because it made sense to me. I forgot who asked me this, and I was like, well, why would it change anything? It's still contained. Nothing's leaked out.
You changed the molecules. You slowed them down, right?
Well, that's what they tried. I was like, what? I was like, it's still sealed, so it freezes, unfreezes. It's the same thing inside the bottle, but Perry, you're telling me that it loses carbonation.
Yeah, it'll more than likely lose carbonation, mostly just because of the expansion of the liquid. It'll kind of squeeze out the CO2 from the end of the bottle, and it may not pop the cap off like you often see when you put a beer in the freezer to chill it down really quick and forget about it, and then come back later, and sometimes it's a huge mess, and other times you're like, oh, it's still sealed, it's perfect.
Right.
My advice, if it has carbonation when you thaw it out, then down the hatch, and you shouldn't see much of a difference. However, more often than not, when you freeze it, you're going to either break the bottle or blow the cap off.
Harry, last question. If I wanted to impress someone and just pretend like I know beer, I like beer.
Okay.
And I go to Buster's Bistro and I order a beer.
And you want to start winging around some Belgian beer terms?
Well, what beer can I order where everybody
will go like,
Buster, we like, oh, this guy knows.
Like when I order a Negroni, like people are like, oh, wow, this guy.
Yeah.
The little hidden ones, right?
Yeah.
There's a few of them. We carry a lot of a lot of the less popular beers, but one of them here, one of my personal favorites. And I think I brought you guys something from this brewery as well. This is a Gouden Careless Ambrio.
Whoa.
This is a Belgian amber. It is absolutely phenomenal. And you don't really see it too often anymore, particularly because they've had some importing issues. And we still have some of these bottles that are about a year and a half aged. And if you're somebody who knows beer and is well traveled in the beer world and particularly imports, you'll know that you don't see that beer often. And that's just one of them. We've got Delirium Noel still that we've been aging. My personal favorite, or one of my personal favorites, is Orval. It's a lesser known Trappist brewery. I shouldn't say lesser known. A lot of people know about it, but it's not like the Westmalas and stuff. And then here's one more, if I may. Please. And this one's just got a great story behind it. This is Deliria. I'll hold up for the camera for you guys. So this is Delirium Tremens. Let me see if I can get this right. I'm looking in a mirror and having trouble with it. So this is Delirium Tremens, except for it is brewed by women specifically to raise money for breast cancer awareness.
Oh, that's cool.
And one of the owners here at Buster's Bistro actually traveled to Belgium and was part of making that batch. The bottle I just held up, she actually was part in making that batch of beer for us to sell.
That's awesome, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I can't wait for Tom to saunter up to your bar and ask for a delicious ice-cold shock top.
Well, I mean, that's fine. We could just give you a Hoegaarden and some orange juice.
The sun is wearing sunglasses. You see how funny that is?
A mohawk. What's more refreshing than a sun with a mohawk?
And it's he's so bright. He's wearing the sunglasses.
Yeah, look how aggressive he is. Is he wearing a tank top?
Harry, it's Buster's Bistro, Belgium Independence Day. What day is it again?
We have the dinner is on the 21st and the event is on the 24th. That's the VIP party on the patio. Please call in, reserve your spots for the dinner if we have any open still.
It'll go fast.
I hope that everybody gets a ticket in time, but we are getting pretty close to our cutoff point.
Yeah.
And then the VIP dinner on the patio is the 24th. And that one, same thing. Don't hesitate. If it's something you're interested in, please jump on it.
Yeah, the chat room is, I can see him tinkering in there. And yeah, if you guys want that, you're going to need to get a hold of Buster's now.
Yeah.
And make that happen, because I've lost out on more of these like really creative beer dinners. And think about this, guys. People want to get out again because people haven't been out. So you heard Harry. Don't sleep on the ticks.
All right, Harry. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Much appreciated, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care. No anytime, man. We'll see you soon.
Buster's Bistro in Sanford.
I'm surprised he didn't mention the big event happening this Friday there.
Oh.
Jeff Howe.
Oh, Jeff Howe.
Howell's playing there this
Jeff Howe's
Friday.
been playing at Buster's Bistro for a long time.
Before it was Buster's Bistro, I think it was originally Ben Franklin's apartment. It's Ben Franklin's syphilis apartment where he would go to meander with the ladies, because Ben Franklin known as a bit of a ladies a ladies man. And
it was back when you had to look both ways for the headless horseman.
We're so mean today. I like it.
All right. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to A Corporate Time with Tom and Dan. I'm Dan.
I'm Tom.
Samantha's here. Butler's here. This is really cool, man.
It is. And this all started because of one of Butler's lies about having rust from the Titanic.
It actually started before that.
Oh, it did?
Because you were talking trash about how climbing Mount Everest is no longer a feat.
Oh,
yes. So we had a listener send us an email.
This is really deep-rooted.
How about Samantha tells you that I just make it up?
Also, it goes further than that, because this is, again, a connection with our friend Mike.
Yes, it is.
Who single-handedly saved, OLE. I mean, we wouldn't
there
have
was
even...
no saving it.
We wouldn't have even had lights had it not been for him.
Yeah.
This is one of his buddies.
It would be probably better if no one could see us.
That's right.
Yeah, Mike's screwed us.
Yeah.
Because
he got us on this one.
Because then they saw us.
But he's making it better by getting us an interview with his friend who just so happens to be, he did something
extremely unique.
Yes.
Something that I don't think we will ever meet or talk to another person that's ever done this, right?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this on the email and talking about how rare it was to actually see the Titanic underwater.
Which then spawned Butler to lie about
Then Butler said he had Titanic rusticles that he bought off an old man gave him.
Shaman.
Then we tried to get a hold of the old man. The old man's crazy.
Yeah. Doesn't remember Butler.
He doesn't remember Butler, doesn't remember what happened. He's everything that comes out of his mouth, it sounds kind of like, you remember the original Friday the 13th movie where they have the crazy guy on the bike? They keep saying, "You're all gonna die. You're all gonna die." That's how this crazy old man is just like yelling, "You're all gonna die."
So on the phone with us, we have Lee. How you doing, Lee?
I'm doing wonderful. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thanks, man, for the time. So Lee actually has been to, in its current Inception, resting place. He has been to the Titanic. Is that not correct, Lee?
That is absolutely correct. I dove on August 5th, 2005.
That's nuts.
So how did this whole thing happen?
Well, it's an interesting story, actually. Here in Orlando, we have an exhibit, the Titanic Experience. Yeah. I was way back in 1999. I auditioned over there as an actor. Titanic had been in my blood since I was in third grade. It was always an interesting thing for me, and then I'm a landlubber being from Wyoming, so it was just kind of interesting. But auditioned as an actor over there, got the job, and then the owner, Mike Harris, found out that I was also a technician because I also work over at Universal. And he asked me if I would like to take care of everything, and I said, sure, I'll take care of the audio, lighting, video, all that stuff. And so one thing led to another, and then also I became his curator because I used to curate the artifacts at the old Territorial Park in Wyoming.
Yeah.
And so years went by, we're all working, everything's great. And then in 2004, we were up on the old balcony. I mean, the Mercado's not even there. It's now where the Orlando Eye is, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
And he walks by me and he goes, "Hey, man, what are you doing in August?" And I was like, working here and working pyro at Universal and stuff. Why? He goes, "Well, you better get some time off. We're going to Titanic." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Bro," he goes, "you're like my right-hand guy here." He goes, "We're going to Titanic." He goes, we're gonna break a Guinness World Record." He goes, "I'm bringing my youngest son, and I'm bringing my closest guys here, here at the show, and we're going out." And now Mike, he actually started RMS Titanic years ago when they first dove the ship back in 2000.
Yeah.
He was the president at the time. Yeah. So he's got a lot of lineage to Titanic. His father went and looked for it back in the day, couldn't find it. Bob Ballard actually picked up the pieces from what his father did and actually found it on the Navy's dime when he was out looking for the Thresher and the Scorpion to take pictures of the two sunken submarines.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2005, and it was myself and a team of 15 people. We boarded the Academic Keldysh. If you've seen of course, the big movie Cameron did, the white support vessel to the beginning, that's the Academic Keldysh run by the Russians. The two subs that you saw in the movie are real. That's actually Mir 1 and Mir 2. And I boarded Mir 1 August 5th and literally went 2.5 miles down to the bottom of the North Atlantic and was able to, with my own eyes, see the Titanic.
Awesome.
Okay, now, this is a lot. There's a lot of very crazy and scary things that you just said, like the idea of even being something for the point of this particular story, just being on a submarine seems very simple in the, but that's very scary to me, being on a submarine. Did you have any training in any of that, or was this all new experience like stuff for you?
Well, the nice thing about it is that the Mir submersibles are a one atmosphere, as they're called. You don't have to have a lot of training because it's not like you're scuba diving or anything like that. You're in a vessel that's a titanium sphere, and as long as you're not having to worry about claustrophobia or anything like that, because it is very tight spaces. I spent a little time with Zhenya Chonet. He was my pilot because I essentially was the assistant pilot on the right-hand side of him. So if I had to if he told me to throw a switch or something like that, he had to show me what it was because it was all in Russian. And then he drove. He essentially flew. They call it flying the sub because you're flying. Literally, the joystick he has in front of him looks like the joystick from the old game Tron. To give you an idea.
Yeah, all right. That would terrify me.
It's just like a black stick with a red button on top.
No, it was a black stick with about 4 buttons on it.
No, to upgrade it. It's like an NES controller. This scares the hell out of me.
So,
man.
Lee, going back to, I don't really understand, like, we talked about it a little bit about, like, who is even allowed to dive down.
Yeah, we looked it up, and it's a business, right?
It is a business, and it's back in 2005. It wasn't as sticky as it is now. Now it is very, very sticky. When Mike was the owner of RMST, they had the rights and essentially to go down and salvage the ship. Now, there's 2 different things here. You can, if you have the rights from the Supreme Court to actually salvage the ship, then they don't even own the artifacts. They're salver in possession. And now he had given up his presidency, of course, with RMST. There was a whole, I won't even go into that story. It's a big old nasty one with Arnie Geller and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But fast forward to us, when we went, essentially it was a matter of Mike was very good friends with Anatoly Skavalovich, who is the scientific head guy for the Keldysh. And he allowed us to, of course, use his, we essentially chartered his submersibles to go out and actually dive the ship. Now, we were not allowed to bring up any artifacts because, again, we did not have the rights by the Supreme Court to actually bring anything up for RMST. But the cool thing was we were able to take as much video and photographs as we were allowed to. And we were able to go in directions that we hadn't gone at that point. Because fast forward to 2015, 20, they've actually what they call mowed the yard of the entire debris field and have digitally been able to put a map of everything that's down. Back in 2005, we didn't have that.
Right.
So when we were down there, if you decide to go a different direction, you don't know what you're going to find because the debris field is so massive.
So explain. So when I want to know the all the details of the actual submersible you're in because it's tethered to an umbilical cord, right? Basically.
No, it is. No? It's a free falling vessel. It's not tethered to anything.
Okay.
What you do is you're when you're on Keldysh, you board it there. They pick you up with a big crane. The crane pulls you over, and then there is a tether that drops you into the ocean. Then they have these really amazing guys that are in a small rubber raft. They call them the cowboys. They get on top of the submersible and disconnect you, and as the sub drops, they can jump back onto the little rubber raft there. Now, you're doing all this in the middle of the North Atlantic. So you can have up to 10 to 15 foot seas on a good day. We had 40 to 45 foot seas on a bad day.
Whoa!
And and Keldysh is a floating brick. It's not like anything that you've ever been on when it comes to like a cruise ship or anything like that. It takes you like 5 chances to get down some stairs because she'll roll to one side. You wait till she comes to center. You go down and you follow it to the right. Then she comes to center. You go down to the left. Oh yeah, she's a floating brick. And so essentially they drop you off in the water, and you're on your own. And what you normally do is they get both submersibles in the water at the same time. They come face to face. We make sure all communications are good with the 2 submersibles, and of course communications to Keldysh.
So
at that point, you start the dive. And when you dive, you are in that submersible for 2.5 hours, going 2.5 miles down to the bottom of the ocean. The whole time, you're actually watching a sonar, and Zhenya has the coordinates and everything. He's making sure the submersible stays within a couple of degrees of those coordinates. Then once we get a little bit deeper down, he starts looking at the sonar, and then you come to rest at the bottom of the ocean, like I said, 2.5 hours later. You follow the sonar, and at that point, he's following his of course, his coordinates and whatnot. And it was amazing because when we got to the ship, you're looking through a porthole that is only about maybe 8 inches around, but it's in a cone, and it's almost 7 inches thick. So it magnifies things just a little bit. And I'm looking through one, Jenny's looking through one that's about 10 inches across, and then the other person on the other side is, again, watching through the same style I am. When we got close enough, it was almost like this dark shadow came across the top of us, because we, of course, unveiled the lights and everything, and then he pulled the nose up. And it's interesting, because when you see the bottom of the ocean, you think that it's going to be it's desolate like the moon's surface, other than you get these little white plants every so often, and you see these flatfish that live at that depth. You have these little crabs that are literally brilliant white that glow in the light. But then everything kind of disappears, and you see the bottom of the ocean starts to ripple a little bit. And then we looked up, and as soon as I looked up, the lights put in view the port side anchor of Titanic.
Wow.
And
God.
It was just this wall of steel that went all the way up. And it's crazy, because you see this steel, and you see how tall it is, and then you realize, if you've seen photographs of Titanic, how far the anchor is from the bottom of the ocean, or from the level of the ocean when she's on the surface, if you look at some of the photographs of her or her sister ship Olympic.
Right.
Well, it's crazy, because the anchor is only about 2 feet from the bottom of the ocean, because the bow plowed into the actual ocean floor. And so there is so much of the bow that's buried in the mud.
That's crazy.
And so yeah,
well,
it's
let me ask
insane.
you just real quick, not to pause you at all, but like
no, go ahead.
As you're descending, because you made it sound really, like 2.5 hours. It's like you're in the car with your mom and dad going to south of the border. You know, in any way were you scared or terrified that? Because I'm just reading some of the comments in our chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live, and most people's problem with that is close quarters. Can you see anything, or is it just driving in the night's darkness, all the way to your destination?
Well, what they do is you turn this up. When we first start to dive, it's really cool because Ginny he turns the lights off, and there's a section of the ocean as you're going down, you're looking through the portholes, you get to see these bioluminescent creatures, and it's just blue, literally little fireworks that are going off and whatnot. You can see through the porthole.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, it's pitch black. So he'll turn off most of the lights except for one, and I'll be very honest, I wasn't scared about it. It was just one of those things, like I was more excited that I was being able to do this, because you were talking about Mount Everest and everything, and Mike Harris mentioned something. He said more people have been to outer space than have been to see Titanic.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's been like I said, it's been in my blood since I was 3rd grade. So when he told me I was going, I was just so excited.
Sure.
And then speaking to Genya, it was actually funny, because the guy that was with us, Dave, he kind of fell asleep because there's really nothing to do. But Genya and I were talking, and we were talking about the technical stuff of the sub, and he and I had become friends because he actually we're both motorcycle enthusiasts.
Cool.
And he drives a German Zendop in Moscow, and so we just chatted the whole way. And it was great, because when we got to the bottom,
it's a hell of a road trip, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a road trip, talking with an amazing guy, because he helped build and design those submersibles. And he told me about his living in Moscow and everything and whatnot. And it was great, because when we got to the bottom, I asked him. I said, "Well, Genya," I said, "about how long do you think that we're going to be on the bottom?" And he's like, it'll be a really bad Russian accent, but he's like, "Well, usually these dives are about 4 hours. No, we stay till batteries need charge." So because of our friendship, he allowed us to stay on the bottom for 7.5 hours.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
After about 4, you're like, I can see it.
I mean, like, my anxiety.
Too long.
I think my anxiety after about an hour, I'm looking at it. I'm like, guys, we got plenty of battery life, but let's call it a day.
Also, Lee,
did you bring lunch down there with you?
Is there a bathroom in those
things?
It's
funny. There is. If what I did before I got on, because I knew the whole idea, I didn't eat for 48 hours before the trip, and I didn't drink for 24 hours, because there is literally a little plastic thing with a cap on it. It's a little bit. It's like from a hospital, and if you have to do your thing, that's what you got to do it in. And when we were all talking ahead of time, like, I'm not going to be the guy that not me. So, and so I told Dave, the guy with us, I said, "You're not eating a darn thing for 48 hours. You're not drinking anything for 24, brother." You know?
Yeah. I mean, those are things people don't talk about as much. But I was like, they must not have any area. I mean, it has to be a container.
You're shoulder to shoulder almost in this thing. I mean, there's switches and stuff all around you, of course, and you actually can lay down on where you can sit down almost a little bit, but then you lay down to be able to look, because it's got a nice little a little pad, like a pad you had like in grade school when it was lunchtime or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you could lay down on that, and then you can look through. But talking about being scared, there was like one time when I had a moment, just a little momentary freak out. Because when you're in there, everybody's breathing, of course, and the titanium sphere is extremely cold. And so it's of course circulating your air and everything, but sometimes at the top of the round sphere, it'll collect a little bit of water. As I'm looking through the porthole, a drip came down and got me right on the back of the neck. And of course, my brain immediately went, "Oh my God, we're leaking." And I was like, "Wait a minute, Lee. It would be like if you had a crack or a hole show up in that, it would be like the scene out of The Abyss. The thing would just implode. You wouldn't even know what happened, and you'd have no idea what happened. It'd be crazy."
That's what I was going to ask you. I'm sure the pilot and the guy who designed this thing made some sort of joke in the 2.5 hour ride down that
we're like in Coke can.
Well, yeah, if there was any problem or any structural breach, it would be instantaneous death.
Instantaneous death. Yes, he even said, he goes, "Yes, if there's any problem with submersible, you're not going to know it." Because it's gonna happen, and you're not even gonna realize it happened.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Well, no, because just crush me fast. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, but although you're just waiting for the instant at every instant, like that's
Oh, me? Yes, of course, of course.
I would never do this.
I tell you, once you see the ship, though, all that goes away. It just all goes away.
Now, do you guys? So tell us about the you cruised around. First of all, I didn't even think that you had that much power because I got a couple questions for you. First, just describe where did you just basically essentially go all the way around from like a bow to stern? Did you see?
Well, yeah. Essentially, what we did is, of course, the bow and the stern are split. Because she did break in half.
Yeah.
And so we started in the port side anchor. We circumnavigated the entire ship. We went up and over the top, and I asked Jenny to do something that I had never seen in a photograph. Because normally when you see the photos of the wreck, you see it from the bow facing towards the rest of the ship.
Right.
I asked him to go to the bridge, essentially where the telemeter is. It's where the ship's wheel was. It's the only thing left of the forward deck. And I asked him to turn around 180 degrees so I could see the ship down towards the anchor crane and towards the tip of the bow. And it was incredible to be there and actually be where Murdoch and Smith and all of them were watching forward of the ship.
Yeah.
So we went there, and then it was incredible. Then we were able to go. We followed along the top of the vessel, and we were able to get to the grand staircase. And Jenny was able to do this maneuver where he could literally bring the rear of the submersible up, and so the portholes were pointing more in a downward angle, so we could look down into the grand staircase with what was left. And, of course, you could see with the lights, the way he positioned them, you could still see some of the small chandeliers on the side. They're just hanging from cables.
Do you see any, ghosts of old ladies twirling and dancing?
No.
Do you see bones?
The thing is there's no bones or anything at that depth. The microorganisms have actually obliterated any sense of anything that was living at that one point. Bones, flesh, everything is gone.
Yeah.
The only thing you can see, like in the debris field, that makes it really hit your heart, where you realize the human disaster, is you'll see pairs of shoes. Oof. Because the microorganisms can't eat the leather of the shoes, and you'll see a pair of shoes together in a position where you can tell that a body was laying there. Or you'll see a pair of boots. That's
like the boiler. Ghosty
what's that?
Telephone line. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's moments you get that feeling like you really understand the gravity of the disaster.
Sure.
One of them is when you're cruising across the top. There's a Wellington davit that is pulled up. What the davits are is they're the structures that held the lifeboats and actually dispatched them over the side of the ship. And this one davit is the only one that's left because all of everything else was ripped off the deck by the cabling from the funnels when they fell. But this one davit is up, and that's one that First Officer Murdoch cranked back up into position after dispatching one of the lifeboats, trying to connect another lifeboat to it. And at that point, the bow plunged, and he was washed off the ship.
Wow.
And so, yeah, there's moments when you have that, and like when we got to the back of the bow, we went down the back side of it, and you can see 5 boilers, plain as day, right across the front of it. And just thinking about, the guys that were in the boiler room, they were still stoking the boilers to allow the electricity to work until the last minute, and they didn't make it out, and so then, of course, you check out the entire bow.
Get their shoes.
What's that?
No, I just screamed, get their shoes, because I'm a child.
Right. That's all right.
I apologize.
No, you're fine. And then the stern is about 1.5 miles away from the bow. And so we went straight to the stern. And now the stern, the best way to explain it, it looks like a giant aircraft crashed. And because it's hard to tell what's what, because when it hit with such force going straight down and hit the bottom of the keel first, it just splayed away. But you could see certain things. One of the pieces that's really interesting is when you get to the back side of the stern, and it's actually flipped 180 degrees. The ship's screws, the propellers, are actually facing the bow because of the way that it landed. But when we were on our way down, I was talking to Jenny, and I said, I'd really love to be able to see the ship's screws. And Dave, the other passenger, was awake. And he's like, oh, man, I don't know about that, Lee. He goes, you got to go under the fantail to see that. There's only a couple inches. You can get hung up in there. That's dangerous. And I looked over and I said, dude, it is 6,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. How much danger are you worried about?
Yeah. I don't know. I
don't get caught up in the line.
Right.
I'm kind of with Dave. I'm sorry not to go against you.
Sorry, Lee.
I vote Dave was right.
I understand, though. Yeah, you're down there. You want to see everything.
Lee is a Titanic real man. He's like,
I'm with Sleepy Dave. I'm like, I want to get the hell out of here. I've seen it. I looked out. I saw the rust. I got it. Like, get me back alive. Like, I don't want to be.
Here's the really funny part, though. So we get to the fantail, and Zhenya looks over at me, of course, and just kind of whispers. He's like, hey, I said, you still want to see screws, yes? I'm like, yeah, of course. So Dave doesn't realize it, but we're going under the fantail.
Fell asleep again.
And right, exactly. So we're going under the fantail, and he gets all excited. He goes, oh, my gosh, I can see the screws. This is amazing, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, me being me, I said, hey, Dave, remember, we're under the fantail, right? And he looks over and goes, shut up, you SOB!
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, my God. Great time to have a nerd fight.
And of course,
we're right under the fantail. Look at the nuts!
I'm looking at the screws. Oh, my God. Nerd fight.
This is awesome.
Zinya's in between us just laughing his butt off. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man.
Now,
but anyhow, so we looked at the whole, we looked at the whole stern and everything, and we had a lot of time left. And so Zhinya asked me, he said, well, would you like to go a different direction? I said, yeah. I said, I'd love to go a direction that hasn't been searched yet. And so he looked at all of his notes because he keeps detailed notes of all the directions he's gone on the ship. And he's like, all right, we're going to go north by northeast. And so we start cruising north by northeast. And all of a sudden, we saw something we hadn't seen before. We found the ship's aft mast, which had never been photographed before. And then we're cruising along a little further, and I'm watching ahead. And Ginny asks, he goes, keep your eyes ahead. He goes, I need to make a couple of notes here and make a couple of adjustments. And as we're cruising, all of a sudden, I see what looks like this mountain of steel in front of us. And I kind of smacked him. I was like, Ginny, pull up. Ginny, pull up. And we pull up and over the top, and we found the missing bottom of the ship because there's a large section about 90 feet between the stern and the bow that was missing, and then we found it. There's two more pieces, and found both of those. So it's pretty exciting to actually find something that had never been photographed before.
So Lee,
that's cool.
First,
man.
you said how deep was it again?
It's 2.5 miles down.
Okay. I'm surprised they don't do any super expensive tours of this with the popularities. Like, I just watched Richard Branson fly up into space, and and people are going to pay a lot of money to do that. So you think you would have some sort of, I understand this is probably insanely expensive, but there would be some multi-millionaire that would be willing to pay to go see this, right? It's like so rare.
Sure. Well, it's interesting you say that, because there is a company that works with a couple of the people that have vessels that can go that deep, like the French have Nautil, the Japanese have a couple that do just that. And they'll take them down for $30,000 a person. And so essentially, but you have to have two people, because also Nautil is a 3-person vessel, and so you have to actually have $60,000, and that's just for the dive. You have to then, of course, pay for the support ship, of course, for all the crew members that are on board the support ship, and on and on and on. And they've done it. They've actually done that. It's kind of weird, but people are just, we all got our things. There was a couple that he was a multimillionaire and she was too, and they went down to one of the subs and got married to Titanic.
Oh,
no,
so
okay.
Look that one up. Yeah, that's the truth.
Well, of course. I mean, people have unlimited money. Then to go see the Titanic is especially if you're
it's
into
less wasteful
history
than most things I've seen rich people do.
Yeah, even if you were into that movie or something, you know what I'm saying, and that meant something to you.
Right.
If you're a history buff, I would definitely put it on if you're a rich billionaire history buff, it's on there.
So after 7.5 hours and seeing all this stuff, I want to know two things. One, I'm sure you talked to the old captain about what would happen if you did have a problem and you got stuck down there. Is the other submarine trained to come get you? Do they send some sort of rescue? Do you sit there and die?
No, that is why they always dive. At least with the Mir submersibles, they always dive in pairs. And there have been situations where one or the other might have got hung up on something, because, such as with James Cameron, when he went down there and did the movie Ghosts of the Abyss and Return to Titanic, they actually took the robots with them. And at one point, one of the Mirs, I think it was Mir 2, got one of its skids caught on something on the upper deck. And they brought Mir 1 over, and they've got these big umbilical claws that are on the front of it. They have these manipulators, and they were able to easily get the other sub untethered.
I've seen those on Baywatch.
So they always. But the thing is now, if you were diving with Nautil, I think they have a new vessel now, a new sub, the French do. I can't remember, but that's only a single one. So if that one gets caught up, there's nobody there to help you. I also know that just lately, I got to do some more research because I just saw it on one of my feeds. There's a new submersible that the Americans have now, I think, and it's a 5-person vessel. But again, it's a single unit, and so if it gets stuck, you're kind of stuck there unless they can get another vessel there fast enough.
Sorry, it's 4th of July weekend. Nothing we can do.
Yeah, right, exactly.
How much air do you have in one of those? Like, if you got stuck down there, how many hours do you have to live?
That's a good question.
Well, you would probably have the nice thing is it's got scrubbers. So it's very much like an Apollo space vessel where the air is recirculated through the scrubbers. But if the scrubbers start, to get too much CO2 in them, I would figure that in Mir you would probably have, because I remember talking to Zhenya, he said it's two things that you'd have to deal with. One is the scrubbers, and two, depending on how much battery life you have left, you need the batteries to keep the scrubbers running. So that's why when they say when the batteries need charge, when I was down there, they still have 4 backup batteries. So they could still be down there for another 10 to 12 hours if need be. Because when the Mirs were the first ones to make it to the North Pole. And they were down there for almost, it was something like 14, 15 hours. They've also been to the Marianas Trench, and so that's much deeper than Titanic. James Cameron used the mirrors, and when he found the battleship Bismarck, and Bismarck is almost at, it's almost at 3.5 miles deep. So they have, it just kind of depends on a lot of things, but they could, I'm sure that those things, depending on the trip, if they're going deep for a long time, they put extra batteries or whatnot, or bigger batteries with more charge, and they could easily last for about 24 hours. So you got about a day. And to ponder what's going to happen and hope someone comes get you.
Worst day ever.
Worst day ever, brother.
Lee, I love Lee. Man, I appreciate you telling these stories. This is so cool.
Certainly.
Thank you again for your time.
So with, I'm guessing as technology gets better and better and more people start building and engineering more of these, is there anything to stop people from going down there and taking stuff? Like, I'm sure it's happened, but how much stuff has been taken from the Titanic, and is there any way for them to even stop that from happening?
Police it somehow.
Or is it?
Well, here's the thing: is that anybody that has access to a submersible that can go that deep, and there's not that many of them. There's only a handful of them. If they charter the thing, they go down there and they talk the pilot into taking something, and they come surface and they hold on to it. Sure, anybody could go take what they want. The biggest thing is they can never sell it. Because if they were to try to sell something that's from the wreck, it is illegal to do so. Now, it's illegal in only certain countries, though. It's only illegal in America. It's illegal in Ireland. It's illegal in England. It's illegal in France. But other countries, like in China and Russia and some of these others and everything, they don't have the same contract essentially with the rest of us because they had no tie to the ship.
It's weird to me that China would steal anything from anybody.
that doesn't sound like
not, no,
hold on, that's not the China I know.
Yeah, that's not, you know what? We're going to end it right here, sir.
Yeah, and I don't even want to go into that because there's a whole nasty thing going on right now too. Because even
England
right now, Aramis Titanic, just so you know, is owned by a Chinese company right now.
I was gonna, I didn't mean, I was gonna bring that up.
But are there pieces, are there artifacts from the Titanic? There is that's on display in museums and stuff, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Like the museum that I helped design and build. Mike and I actually, when we left Mercado, the museum went to the Orlando Science Center for a year, and then we built the new exhibit that's down on I Drive. And when he sold it, I still continued to work for the company at the time was called PRXI. Now it's changed over to another name. I don't know what it was. And I stayed there as the technician and the curator. And my wife and I had about 400 artifacts that were actually in the show from the White Star Line, which is, of course, the parent company of Titanic, and from Olympic, her sister ship. Now, I had two pieces that were from Titanic, but they were not from the wreck. They were actually, one was a plate that was stolen in Southampton when she had her port of call there, and another one was a cup that was borrowed on permanent basis, shall we say, in Cherbourg when it had a port of call. Because she didn't go straight from Southampton right to the U.S. She went from Southampton to Cherbourg to Queenston and then to New York. So, people stay at a really highfalutin hotel and they kind of borrow a towel. Yeah. It just kind of ends up in their luggage. Same thing.
Yeah, I have an appetizer plate from Carlos and Charlie.
Exactly. So a lot of people,
right. My wife put in her jumbo oversized bag.
Right. A lot of people have pieces of the ship when she was still on the surface, or from Flotsam and Jetsam that was found by the Minia or the McKay Benet, two ships that went back searching for the bodies. There was lots of wood that was floating, and like a John, I forgot his last name. He was a carpenter on board the Minia. He brought a lot of this wood up, and he built things out of it, common things. He made like a chessboard. He made a cribbage board. He made a table. And at that time, it was really hard to get a hold of good wood like that, and it wasn't even a thing. It's like, well, it's just wreck wood, whatever.
But it's made out of the Titanic. That's amazing. And what a cool.
So there's a lot of those pieces that are out there. Even like the when the lifeboats, when they strip the nameplates off the lifeboats, it's really kind of cool because lifeboat number 6 had both of its plates, and there's a gentleman that we used to do work with as an exhibit, as he had pieces, and we'd show it. But then get ready for this. The other lifeboat from Lifeboat 6 belongs to Rick Springfield, and they're both on display together. I do believe it's in Canada right now.
Rick Springfield.
What the hell?
We talked to Rick Springfield
Springfield
about his underage relationship with Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
That was
hey,
like
we're
our
not talking about someone's personal stuff.
I know, yeah.
He did. She was 15.
I was
on
like
Titanic.
Yeah. This man,
The actress was 15.
Yeah, he was dating her at 15 and he was on the Titanic. He's a living
there
vampire.
You go.
So Lee,
Yes.
we probably got like 10 more minutes or less.
Okay.
But what are some misconceptions? Because you sound like you know a lot about the Titanic, and what are some of the urban legends and stuff that people believe
Like
that
that
never
the
happened?
band played as they were going
gosh.
down, remember? Like didn't,
All right, so one of the big ones that keeps creeping up is everybody thinks that they switched Titanic with Olympic because of trying to get money or whatever it was, because Titanic cost more to build and everything. And once you've been down there and you've seen it, you can see all the evidence that it's definitely Titanic. And that one keeps creeping up. And so I literally have a Word document with all the explanation. So on some of my Titanic forums, someone's like, yeah, I heard they actually switched them. I just copy, paste, drop it, end of story. So
My God.
What do you mean
Yeah.
switch them? Like it was never the actual Titanic?
It was right. Supposedly they say that they switched the two of them because the White Star Line purposely sank the ship so they could get the insurance money off of it, and they kept Titanic because it was the better of the two ships because it was more opulent than Olympic, when in reality they were virtual twins. But there's certain things you can tell, like Titanic, she had her first class walkway enclosed. As you could see it on the outside of the ship, it's plain as day. And so there's other things like when I saw the screws, you could see the number 401 imprinted right on it, and that's the ship's number, the yard number she was built in Belfast. And so there's that misconception. And then, of course, there's the big misconception from the movie that Jack and Rose were actually on board, and there was the heart of the ocean. It's all bollocks. It's not even real.
there was no jumbo diamond and no dumb old lady and no nightgown.
No dumb old lady, no dumb old diamond. And you know how many 14 and 15-year-old girls' hearts I broke when I told that Jack was not real when we went to the exhibit? So many I can't count.
Well, better to do that now than to do it anonymously online. Right?
What about when Daniel said the legend of the band playing basically?
Now that's actually true. Wallace Hartley and his band were asked by Captain Smith to actually play to calm everybody down a little bit, and so they started playing. But everybody says that the song was "Near My God to Thee," but the actual song they believe that it was is called "Autumn." And everybody just keeps the "Near My God to Thee" story going because, one, we can't prove it for sure, other than there were survivors that said, oh, they actually played "Autumn." And so there's that one that's always, out there. And unfortunately now we've lost everybody that was alive at that point, that could keep those stories going. So unfortunately a lot of the telltales keep surfacing, and so we have to go back and say, no, it was this, it was that.
And at any point, did a man with a revolver have to point it at poor people and tell them to stand down, or he would shoot them like animals?
No, what the story goes is that Chief Officer Wilde, and yes, what you said about me knowing a lot about Titanic, I'll admit, I'm a Titanic historian. Being the curator, you learn a lot of good stuff.
I love it. It's good.
So it actually was Chief Officer Wilde, and he was near the rear of the ship.
That's what they call me on Saturday nights.
Anyhow, so he didn't point it at anybody. People were getting a little bit crazy on trying to rush the ship or rush the lifeboats. He pointed it into the air and fired off one shot. Now, there are multiple stories that they actually shot a person, and it all stemmed from one letter. Everybody that had actually given information on what happened, they said he pointed it in the air. One letter from one person to their grandmother telling the story said that the officer shot someone. Everybody else said it was shot into the air. So you have to
Check
kind
the
of go
body
by.
cam.
Right, yeah. Well, it's kind of like the same thing with Titanic breaking in half. For years and years and years and years, everybody said that the ship went down in one piece, except for one person, Jack Thayer, said that he believes he saw the ship break in two. And it was, of course, there was a moonless night. There was, no breaking water. It was totally calm. As Lightoller said, it was like a mill pond. And so you can't really see what's going on. Lightoller, he was a second officer. He said that he didn't think the ship went down, or that the ship didn't break in two. When the ship was going down, he was sucked up next to a boiler vent, went under the water. When the boiler vent filled with water, it went down to boiler room number 2. It flash boiled and then pushed him away. He bobbed up next to lifeboat collapsible B, and by the time he got the water out of his eyes and stopped coughing and everything, the ship was gone.
Oh, wow, that's fast.
Oh, my God.
That's also terrifying.
Yeah.
Horribly terrifying.
There's a lot of stories like that, and it was very. When I was at the ship, I played like 13 different characters. I played a shipyard worker, but I played Lightoller, and I also played Captain Smith. And
so you have the knowledge, and you got to do what Tom hates the most. You got to pretend to be somebody else and use like a character voice.
I'm sure
Tom hates that. And I love it.
I'm sure the real man Russian captain of the sub loved that.
No, I think he's saying at the exhibit. I don't think he means.
Sorry,
the exhibit. Yeah,
my
the
business
exhibit.
partner is so stupid. He thought you were in the sub and you went down and you were so excited by seeing the Titanic that you decided to act out 14 characters in front of the Russian.
Oh, no. Oh, my God. I would never do that. They would throw me overboard.
This man's crazy. Oh, my God. Next thing you know, he'd be grabbing a genital.
I did the characters when I was hired as an actor. I told you that in the beginning.
Sorry. I don't pay attention.
He doesn't listen.
I knew what you meant, man.
I've been looking at fantasy football.
I knew what you meant, Lee. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for the stories.
It's my pleasure. Absolutely.
And man, I would love to maybe do this again sometime.
Listen, anytime we have a Titanic question, you're our new show Titanic expert.
Yeah, you're our guy.
Certainly. Give me a call. You got it. Absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks again, and thanks to Mike for hooking this up, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Thank you so much, guys.
All right,
have a great day.
Thanks, Lee.
What a nice man.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, you embarrassed me.
What?
He was a nice man.
That's crazy. And also,
he got to do that just because he's like it's not like I expected him to have I'm a master diver. I've been diving for 35 years. I specialize in submersible.
Friend of a friend.
Yeah. Right. I was looking for that guy. Instead, it was just like, hey, you're the Titanic guy. You're into the Titanic. You're setting up the exhibit. You're really into this. Hey, come on. We're going down.
Yeah.
Really?
Also, 7.5 hours is too much.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You can.
I mean, the 2.5 hours to get down there's too much.
Pass. One pass over the top and take us back up.
You're like, I see it.
And I love it. The only reason I got into diving, and you know this, is because I like the creatures and the scenery, and it is very calming. But something about this and that thing, 2.5 miles down, it's like, give me one straight pass over the top so I see everything, and let's get the hell out of here.
I understand a couple hours of cruising around, looking out the window, taking pictures, but it's 7.5 is too much.
Yeah.
I feel like 5, you're like, I got the gist.
I don't need for the Russian pilot to say until the batteries go dead.
Yeah, no way.
I don't need
no
that.
way.
No, it's fine.
All right, bye-bye. Welcome back to Corporate Tom and Dan. I'm Tom.
I am Dan. We have a limited time, so let's jump into our next guest, Mr. Van.
Yep, on the line with us right now, we got Skylar and Emily from True Leave. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. So now Emily is part of the research and development team at True Leave, correct?
All right.
Yes, that is correct.
Now, there's a lot of questions that I've gotten from listeners and from people around, even myself, because there's a lot of words that we've heard and products that True Leave has and stuff, but I feel like I don't necessarily exactly know what the product is. Or you know what I'm saying?
I think that's a good... It can be intimidating sometimes to ask the proper question.
Like the difference between true wax and true crumble. Like crumble and wax and all, I know what that is, but not exactly, right? Like
nano gels. You don't even... Do you know what a nano gel is? Yeah. So you got to know all this.
I don't know what's more potent or what's considered more powerful or I don't.
So they can help us with this.
Yes.
Is that what we're getting to? Yes.
So Emily, what is the difference between those two products?
Between the crumble and the true wax?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically they're very similar products. They're made in very similar ways. The real difference is the consistency of the concentrate. So crumble is kind of what the name sounds like. It crumbles, so you can break it apart. And wax is more of like a sticky, waxy texture, so you can more cut it. So it really comes down to like patient preference of what they would like to use. They're both going to be pretty flavorful. They're going to have the terpenes that are extracted with the plant and all of that as well.
So they're basically the same product. It's kind of like whether you prefer a French fry or a tater tot. It's still a potato.
Yeah.
It's just how the shape.
I would have never thought that you would go crumble to wax is tater tots to fries. This guy's a genius.
So one's not more powerful than the other.
They're both about the same. Yeah, so really patient preference is going to be the key for that product.
And I really feel in this particular analogy that crumble is your tot.
Okay.
And that wax is your fry.
Now, could you eat the crumbles if you wanted to? Is that,
proper?
Could you? I mean, is it the same as like a concentrate or whatever? Like I prefer to ingest all my THC products.
You're a typical crumble eater. yeah.
Is that possible?
Yeah, you're definitely not going to want to eat crumble.
No, okay.
It's not activated until it's heated up. So if you eat it, you're not going to get effects from it.
What if he ate hot crumbles?
Well, that's an interesting thing because I assume that maybe
right before this interview he ate all the crumbles and nothing's happening.
Well, I assume that your body would digest it and you would still get the THC effects, but you're saying you have to actually heat it for it to work?
So you got to heat it you have to heat it in order to get the high type effect because that comes from THC delta 9. The form in which crumble and wax and most of the concentrates is sold is THCA. So it needs to be heated in order to
All
activated.
right, that's good to know. I see Tom putting the crumble back in his
edibles.
pocket slowly.
What about the terpenes? Because every time someone's like, "Oh, the terpene, the terpene this, terpene that," I always I shake my head. I'm like, "Oh yeah, the terpenes."
Yeah, don't forget about the terpenes.
And I have no idea what that is. I just shake my head and I'm like, "Oh yeah. Of course, the terpenes."
Yes. I vote yes on I like terpenes.
So, can you explain to me what exactly that even means?
Yeah. So the terpenes are a big portion of where your flavor is coming from. So each different strain has different combinations of terpenes that are held within the plant. So when you extract it into concentrates, it keeps those terpenes and gives you your individual flavors and terpene profiles between the different concentrates.
So does it have to do, when you say flavor, is it my taste bud flavor? Like, I don't.
What other flavor are you? Do you have other flavors we don't know about? Like, can you taste with your butt, Tom? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, no, I guess that was a stupid question.
Yeah, I don't know why you would ask that.
Well, because...
Is you talking about my flavors?
My mouth flavors?
You talking about my mouth flavors? Emily, is that what you talk about? Them there mouth flavors?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassing myself. But that's what it is, right? Like I can taste blueberries. Or
it's gonna be your taste. What's your tasting? So yes.
This segment just made the end of the year awards. Mark it down, Sam. This is an all-time winner of put it down for embarrass the most in front of clients. Put that down, yeah.
So the terpenes are just flavor profile.
Yeah, to an extent.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Listen, that's more information than I knew.
We have some questions from the chat room, twitch.tv/Tom and Dan Live. One of the questions was somebody was asking about, they asked me to ask about caramel sauce.
Yeah, so caramel sauce.
Yeah, there's 2 new concentrate.
Oh.
Like yours. Okay, hold on a second, guys. This guy's laughing like he knows, and I said caramel sauce. He's like, oh! And then the chat room goes, and then of course, then Emily's like, yes, of course, the concentrate caramel sauce.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought they were asking about like the
mouth flavors.
yeah, more flavors.
Yeah, you shut your mouth flavors.
I'm sorry.
So what about? I guess it's creme or creme? Am I saying that right?
So we have refined creme and caramel sauce. They're the 2 newest concentrates that we just launched. Caramel sauce just launched on 7/10, and refined creme was a little bit before that, but brand new that just hit the market recently.
There you go. So you need to pick yourself up some caramel sauce, Tom.
I want to ask you about basically increasing the THC percentage, because this was a question someone asked for me like a long time ago, back when they were discussing like I don't know, maybe messing with the law or whatever, like reducing the percentage of THC in a product or whatever.
Skylar was telling us a lot about that like earlier during the virus.
And then people were asking me like, how do they do that, or what does that mean? Is it all based on the strand of THC, like the plant itself, how much THC it has in it, or is it the way you refine the product? And I had no idea.
That's a good. That's a good simple question.
Yeah.
What? How do you determine the percentages?
So the percentage, we determine it ultimately in final product by analytical testing.
Sure.
But because of the strain and because of the type of product and the processing that goes into it, all of those 3 is going to be in the final product.
So basically, the actual strand of the plant or the
determines the potency?
Yeah, it can have a heavy influence in it.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then when you're actually processing, like just a dumbed down version so I can understand it, when you're going from plant to concentrate, I've seen like videos on the internet of people like literally squishing the oil out of the bud, like out of the flower.
You squish the buds.
If you squish it hard enough, like oil comes out. It was basically
and that works
pure
for anything.
THC.
If you squish anything hard enough, oil will come out.
I'm sorry, Emily. But is that how you do it? You squish the buds?
So that's one method of doing it. That's not our main extraction method for how we do most of our products. At Trulieve, our main extraction method is ethanol extraction. Because pressing every individual bud wouldn't be a very effective process for us. So we take it through an ethanol process that gives you the extract from the plants, and then from that extract, we can put it into different products and how we would want to make it. So we've got one extract that's going to go towards concentrates, one that's going to go towards capsules, some that's going to go towards edibles, and we can break it up like that.
There you go. A lot more efficient than just squishing individual buds, Tom.
Well, I don't do it. Jeez. And what is the actual, I guess, purest form? Is it the crumble or the wax or?
Yeah, what would be the most potent form that you guys provide?
Potent and pure, I guess, aren't always related. So I would say the most pure form that we have would be the True Spectrum vape carts.
Oh, I love those.
Those have been really, really popular.
Yeah, they're hard to find, too, because they go very quickly because people do like them. If you can find the True Spectrum vape carts, it's a Dan favorite, but again, sometimes they go very fast.
Mm-hmm. So that, I would say, would be the most pure. And then your most potent is going to be your concentrate products. So your THCA, your shatter, wax, crumble, those are going to be your more potent ones.
Oh, I got a question for you, Emily. I just thought of it. Say I'm getting a Trulieve True Gel, like a tiny 10 milligram. Let's say they're in 10 milligrams, because I believe that's the milligrams. Those the squared True Gels come.
They're great.
Are they evenly distributed? Where if I cut it in half, would I be
to the best of your ability? If it's 50-50, it'll be 5 and 5.
Would it be 5 and 5, or could it be more THC on one side than the other? Therefore, it's like, well, okay, we know this is 10 milligrams, but it's not evenly distributed perfectly. Where, like, if you cut it in half, that you would get 5 and 5.
Yeah, no, they're completely even. So if you cut it in half, you're going to get half the dose.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
because the only time that it wasn't like that was when it wasn't legal, and we were.
Yeah. You eat the frog feed, and you were freaking out.
Yeah. Next thing you know,
you're
eating one SpongeBob, and all I ate was a corner of his sponginess, and I'm freaking out, dude.
So Skylar, I know that there's some new openings, and we, every time we have you on, we talk about new openings.
Where
and
are
stuff
the newest ones now?
So we have a store opening this week. Actually, you'll have to stay tuned. I can't give too much information, but I know y'all follow social media.
We do.
Okay.
It's towards the end of the week. I will tell you that. And it is close to Orlando, if I'm picturing the map correctly. So we have that coming up.
Nice.
And then we also, which that's going to be our 86th store, which is crazy that we're almost at 90 stores.
Wow.
I know. And then speaking of edibles, we have a happy hour mix and match this afternoon until 8 that you pick 4 edibles for $75.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
That's awesome.
And when is that again?
It's today from 1 to 8.
Yeah, so you have a little bit of time left if you're listening to this.
Yeah. This is our last interview of the day, and I'm literally going to the Winter Park.
No, if you're listening to this tonight, then you just go to your computer now, and you better order.
Yeah. And what's the special
Get
again?
all your edibles.
Yeah.
4 for $75.
I'm sorry?
4 for $75?
Yes.
All right,
You should have got that email.
Yep, 4 for $75.
There you go.
Last question, Emily. When you're part of research and development, is it part of your job to, for lack of a better term, taste test or try the product to see what it does?
I mean, that's what I say.
Or because it's all.
And we're just a media partner.
Is it? Or because is there no use to doing that because it affects everybody different because it's all up to people's individual body chemistry. So it's not really, I guess, any proof to what this particular product will do just because it makes you feel a certain way to other people. Or, do you try these products?
Yeah, so that's not really included in the job description.
Yeah, yeah. I just wondered if it was.
Well, we do a little bit of some when we develop like new gummy flavors and edibles. We can make them without the active in it, so that we can test all the flavors to make sure that the flavors taste good.
Yeah, and they do.
That's about the extent of it.
Yeah, and y'all roll out the flavors legit.
Yeah. No,
I like the Florida orange one, and then somebody in the chat room mentioned a key lime, and I have yet to try that, but I love me some key lime.
I know we got to go, but the CBN, can you run through exactly, because I know it's aged THC, but that's all I know.
Yeah, so basically CBN is another cannabinoid, just like THC or CBD, and CBN is mostly geared towards sleep. So that's why and you're correct in the fact that it's an aged THC almost. It's not, aged probably isn't the best term for it, but it's converted. So we take THC in through a process, and then out comes CBN, which is meant to help people calm down and sleep and relax better than just THC normally.
Okay, great. I use it all the time, and I love it. I just didn't know exactly what it was, but I prefer that even over CBD because of the sleep quality. So, Emily, Skylar, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We appreciate it. Sorry we're laughing so much. I promise you we are not high currently.
Oh, man. We are. We're just in good moods, and Tom was cracking me up for some reason.
Although I did take a good amount of CBN last night, and I think it just still...
Carrying over. Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you next month, okay?
Thank you.
No problem.
See you guys. Emily, nice meeting you.
Bye.
Take care. See ya. They are so nice.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they put up with us.
Yeah.
Getting out of here. Anything to plug? YouTube, Tom and Dan Live. Twitch, Tom and Dan Live.
TikTok,
Tom and Dan Live.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do a TikTok today? Butler, do a TikTok.
Also, if you want to be a BDM, you could just.
This week was Shart Week.
Yeah, we need you to sign up.
Yeah, sign up and
bring a friend.
Bring a friend,
and you'll get some good shows like Shart Week and some upcoming events that we got. And we'll let only BDM know, invite them and let them know first and all that stuff.
Yes, sir. TomandDan.com and bye bye.